What is up, everybody? Welcome to my impromptu open mic tonight. Of course, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles. How you guys doing? It's Sunday night, Labor Day weekend. I almost said Memorial Day. You guys heard it. I always get these two confused of when they occur during the year. My wife was yelling at me earlier today, but yeah, it's Sunday night. We're hanging out. It's an open mic tight tonight, so you guys know what that means, right? If you want to jump on the stream, you are more than welcome to come on. I've actually pinned the I'm going to show it here on the screen so you guys can see it. Pin the stream. You can see it right here at the bottom. If you guys want to join, all I ask is that you are respectful. If you guys want to argue, that's fine, but just no name calling, stuff like that. But other than that, the mic quality has to be good. So as long as the sound's okay, we can hear you. That's all I really care about. So there you guys go. A couple people are in the chat already. We have 12 people, which is awesome. Before I get to that, I may give something away tonight. We'll see how the night goes and what happens. But I have something small that I've been looking to give away, so we'll see if it plays out or not. But either way, I want to say hello to a couple of people. First and foremost, Mercury, what's going on? Happy Labor Day, brother. Everyone, hope everyone is having a good night. Luis Mendoza, how are you, bud? Whoa, what's up, fellas? Says hello to Derek. What's going on? Christopher with a K. Hell yeah. Derek Neiman, of course, one of my great channel members. Always the first to comment on member videos. Derek, I really appreciate you, brother. Thanks for popping in tonight. Of course, I'm going to highlight all the comments. Memorial Day, both start with M. Yeah, Memorial May. Oh, that makes sense, right? Memorial May, Labor Day in September, always. Good trick, man. I appreciate that. And then, of course, we have Jay Bjorkland. I hope I got that right. And Patel Philippe. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Really appreciate that. Thoughts on the new Magic the Gathering Spider-Man set that's coming out on September the 26th? The cards look pretty good for any Spidey fan. I have seen them. They do look awesome. I'm not a Magic guy. I'm not going to lie to you. I know a lot of people are. I know Swag is a big Magic guy. Dan from, of course, Sticky Goose is also a big Magic the Gathering person. I am not, but anything Spider Man, you guys know I'm always into. So when they come out, depending on price, we'll see if I'm able to gobble them up. But either way, they do look pretty cool. I will say that. But other than that, like I said before, this is an open mic. So if anybody wants to jump in, I have pinned the stream link. If you do want to hop on here and talk about anything, I do have a couple of topics tonight we will cover because I think they're important. Of course, I do want to talk about them. That's the whole point of me kind of jumping on here. But I want to start by saying this. If you guys have questions for me during this live stream tonight, do me a favor, drop them in the chat if don't want to come on live with me because I will answer anything you guys want. That's what I do these things for. There's still a lot of, I don't want to say confusion in the comic book market and the collectible space for that. But just a lot of things going on right now with PSA, CGC. I really love to get somebody from CGC on the podcast to see if we could talk a little bit about what's going on with them because they've been a little quiet ever since PSA has announced they were coming to the comic book game. But we'll see if I can reach out to them and actually get someone on. I would really love to talk to them. Same with PSA, even though I doubt they're still relatively new, but I do have some great upcoming guests. They're going to be coming on at my second part of the podcast with Sticky Goose. I have Go Collect, actually, that I just filmed an episode with, which is a phenomenal episode. Happy to get those guys on to talk about the space and about their platform and what they have coming in the future. They really want to dominate, the collecting, I don't want to say stratosphere for everything, right? Right now they do everything from comics to certain cards to posters, stuff like that. So they really want to be your one-stop shop for everything collectible. So make sure you check out that podcast when it drops. I think it's going to come out the 12th of September. Uh, Catch up on the chat. We have John Band. What's going on? Greetings from the Windy City. What's going on in Chicago tonight? Of course, we have my boy Izzyverse NYC. If you guys are not subbed to him, make sure you do so as well. Always a great channel. And Patel says CGC to cards is like CBCS to comics. Nobody really wants those graded cards. PSA and Beckett are the names in cards like Magic. I agree with you on PSA. I know Beckett with certain like sports cards and I think their gold label, their black label series, very popular with card collectors, stuff like that. So definitely, I have submitted cards to CGC, and the process was pretty painless, just like it is to PSA. But I get what you're saying with especially with dollar amounts and value, when it comes to, like, sports cards, especially, PSA is number 1. As far as, like, Pokemon, I'm gonna say PSA as well. With certain things, though, I have seen a lot of, CGC cards that, people have been buying on eBay. I don't really see that stuff on Instagram too much, but definitely on eBay, people are buying now. I'm not sure what their intentions are, if they plan on, like, cracking and resubmitting to PSA, that could be the case. But, someone who could speak more to cards than me should probably answer that. But I did a podcast with a sports card dad who was probably one of the people I would actually ask that question to. He said it might be a game time decision today, but if you might join us tonight. So if hang around, you never know, he might pop on with us. Is he says Go Collect are great guys, no question. I had two of them on with me. Really fun discussion about everything comics, collectibles. So make sure you look out for that. Again, a really great conversation that we had. I'm excited to bring you that because it's the first time they've actually gone on a channel and talked about their platform. So I'm the first, and that really makes me happy. Mercury says, "Hey, Mighty, really love your podcast. Hope you post it more regularly. It's a good listening while I'm driving. Once a week is usually what I plan to do with the podcast. I have done it like twice a week when I break up certain things. Like when I did with Swag, I did a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about half hour, half hour. And the last one was, I think, only like 7 or 10 minutes. But a lot of people have been telling me they want the longer form podcast. So that's what I really think I'm going to do going forward. Maybe only have one for each person that comes on the podcast to talk about unless it goes really long, but most of them are around 45 minutes to an hour. So the Go Collect one is right at 47 minutes and it really flows nicely. Derek says CGC is actually huge in TCG and other non-sports cards. Yeah, I know a lot of people. If you go and like I went to New York Comic Con the past couple of years, their card presence has been vast. It really has. From when they started to now, a lot of people have been sending stuff in. The one thing I'll say about their cards and their label, I'm glad they went away from those comic labels that they had were the same for their cards. They went in a totally different direction, almost the same as PSA, except it's a black instead of the red, and it really looks fantastic. So I'm not counting out CGC when it comes to cards, but when I think it comes to sports cards, PSA is definitely the one. I know for Garbage Pail Kids, 100%. PSA is you have to go with them because that is where you're getting the most bang for your buck, no question. Again, Patel says, with another $5 super chat, I really appreciate that, brother. What's the lowest grade you'd want for an AF-15 in your personal collection? Or would you take whatever you could get, let's say attainable within reason? So that's a great question because I think I'm the person to answer this because I've owned like 4 AF-15s in my lifetime total. And that's not me bragging, but I've had a 1.0, I've had a 1.5, I've had a 3.0, and now I have a 2.5 signed by Stan Lee. So I've had all low grades, don't get me wrong. And for me personally, I just want to own the book. As long as it presents well and the colors are good, I'm okay with it. And it's complete, right? It's got to be blue label. I do not want to own a restored copy of a Silver Age book. That's just my preference. But I'm happy to own any grade. Now, what I settled on, and I say settled on because I've owned so many copies, is a yellow label AF-15. It's because I personally, when I talk about some of the bigger Marvel grails, like especially AF-15 or Hulk 1, I want those signed by Stan Lee only because I feel like there are certain books I want his signature on because he was not only the creator or one of the creators of Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk and these iconic characters we've come to know and love, but it also, reduces the census count. You know what I mean? Like for a book like AF-15 with his 4,000 copies blue label total graded, go and check out how many yellow labels there are signed by Stan Lee. Not as many as you would think. Off the top of my head, I do not know. I don't want to make a comment of how many there are, but it's got to be like 100 something. So not too many when compared to the total. And that's why I do it. And because, Spider-Man's my guy. I love the Incredible Hulk #1 cover. It's one of the best covers ever been done by Jack Kirby. I love that book signed by Kirby, but it's almost near impossible to get anything signed by Jack. So I have a Stanley signature series on that one as well, because I just think those are his two best creations, in my opinion. So that's why I want to do it. But as far as your question, AF-15, just get something that presents well, but any grade you want just to have in your collection. The higher you go, the more investment, opportunity you have. But I'm not really looking at books to buy in books for investment nowadays. I just want to own the book. But thank you for the super chaps, Patel. Really appreciate it, brother. Black Spider, what up, my dude? How are you, man? Good to see you. Thanks for everybody who's in the chat right now. We have 18 people in there. Hopefully, more people pop in. And like I said, the link is in the chat. If somebody wants to jump on and talk with me about comics, about cards, about collectibles, I do have a couple things I want to share with you guys today. One of them is really cool. We're actually going to go and open some stuff while I got you live. But before I do that, I want to check out everybody who's in here, talk about whatever you want to talk about. I do have a couple of topics we're going to go through, but I'm always here to answer questions to boot, and we'll see how long we go. I have no agenda tonight outside of just being here for everybody and hanging out. Um, a lot of people saying hello to everybody. Joey Campos, what's going on, brother? He says, "Sup, man? I'm always happy to see your top 10 videos, and the interviews you've had have been awesome. Thank you so much." We're trying to innovate here on the channel. I will say that. I want to do something that not a lot of people are doing. I think there are podcasts out there, and I think there are interviews out there, but I want to kind of bring those together and just have conversation with the people who are important to us in the community, but also in the collectible space and the nostalgia space, because that's really what this channel is about. That's what the podcast is about. And I've had my roommate from college jump on to do a podcast with me. It's a really short one because something happened with the camera and the audio, but it gives you an insight into how we are and how we work together. And it was really funny for the 7 minutes we got together. So eventually that will drop as well. Let me take a sip. Christopher, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. Maybe we'll. Deschambeau, I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but he says, "Has there ever been a comic book that was really expensive you pulled the trigger on? Did you have buyer's remorse later?" So this is a phenomenal question. So yeah, and I'm going to give you an example. Now, right when I bought the comic, I had no buyer's remorse. And I rarely have buyer's remorse when I first buy a comic. When I do have buyer's remorse is later on when I realize I either spent too much money on that book or didn't get the copy I should have bought. And that my copy was that Batman one that I used to own. And that may come to a surprise to a lot of people out there. When I bought that book, I wanted to buy the book. I wasn't a fan of restored books. I'm still not, but I was happy that it was a CBCS restored book because it did present better. I already had that Tech 31, which actually matched that book to a T. So I was happy to own both of them. But when I went to sell the book, I did realize that I did overpay for that, even though I did trade some books in that deal. But admitting your mistakes is half the battle when it comes to this stuff. So that was my buyer's remorse. But at the end of the day, I still love owning the book. I'm happy I bought the book. I just wish I paid a little bit less for it. Darth and DJ Links. What's going on to the two of you? Again, I remind everybody if you want to jump on, the link is in the chat. I will drop it again if you want, but it's pinned. So if you want to scroll back up, or if you want, I'll drop it again. Just let me know. Put it in the chat. I will do that for you guys. But love both of you guys for dropping in here tonight. Hopefully, you guys can hang for a bit. Jay says, "Hi, Lawrence. When would you unload a vintage graded MOTU collection to capitalize on the movie release, before or after the trailer, movie release, etc.?" So, first of all, when you say a graded MOTU collection, are they vintage? I'm assuming they say vintage graded. Well, wow. So I'm assuming, are they on card or are they loose graded? I'm assuming you mean on card, but maybe I'm wrong, because if they're vintage carded figures, man, that's awesome. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have two, they're not graded, but I have two carded figures, and I have an almost complete loose line. They're not graded, but I got to be honest with you. I think once that trailer drops, if it looks anything that's decent, that's the time I would do it, because there are so many pent up fans for this movie. Everybody that I know who's a closet MOTU fan has come out of the woodwork about this thing. Uh, there's some great stuff going on in Germany right now. They're actually going to have a MOTU convention in California, I think, next year as well. So that's going to be something that's awesome. So I would do it right as the trailer drops, get a little bit of reaction, and then list them if you really want to sell these things. But do me a favor, Jay, if you want to sell something ahead of time, email me. My email is in the description of every video, or you could actually email me on the podcast at the Mighty Rewind Podcast at gmail.com as well. It may take something off your hand if interested. But really, really awesome, my friend. Patel again, thank you so much, brother. Another super chat. He says, "What are your top 3 overhyped books that come to mind?" Wow. Overhyped, huh? I hate to say this because I love the artist, but I think the monster stuff with Mark Spears. I love his artwork, and I think the covers are absolutely phenomenal to a point where I was collecting a lot of them as well because I really love monster stuff, but I also love his art. But I just think there are too many covers coming out right now, and I'm not sure down the line what the values are going to be on these things. Some of them are really, really expensive. I sold my whole run that I had for like 700, $800, but one of them alone was like a $600 book that I paid like 100 something dollars for when it first came out. So that's one of them, or I should say a genre, not just a one book. But oh, brother, overhyped books. Anything modern, anything modern right now, I just think is too hyped. Incredible Hulk 181. A lot of people are probably going to kill me for that, but there's just so many copies out there. I would love to own the book. Don't get me wrong. Still want to own the book, but it's just when there are that many copies of a book out there that are still raw and the prices that they're going for. I know Wolverine's incredibly popular. I'm probably going to get killed from people out there, but it's overhyped, right? You can buy that book anywhere. And I always say with Bronze Age, you got to buy higher grade stuff because there are a ton of copies. So I would say it's overhyped because of the amount of copies, but I still think it's a must own book, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm a vintage guy, so I don't think anything vintage that's a key is overhyped, to be honest. Uh, when we're talking about speculation, it's a totally different story because spec is a different thing. Like you're trying to buy, now and then sell higher. So like when people are talking about a book, is never is the time to buy when people are actually mentioning it. If you can go to like a shop or a show or an LCS and find a key that's underpriced, that's what I'd be doing if you're looking to flip books. But if you just want to own them for the long term or just have them in your collection, you always got to try to find deals, especially in this market right now. Even though I think the market is getting better. Hope that answers it, Patel. Andrew, what's going on, brother? I have been researching all of the Disney comics and collectibles. A lot of it is expensive, and I'm guessing that Disney owns most of their collectibles. Now, when you say that, the Disney comics that are coming out, I actually feature a lot of them that come out on my top 10 comics of the week that it comes out on Tuesday. In fact, this week, this Tuesday, another one hits the list that is a nice first appearance that not too many people talk about, and it's still relatively inexpensive if you can find them. That's the key. If you can find them. So a lot of the times, if you go to like certain live sales that have like I know certain dealers that like specialize in those type of books. So every time if I'm looking for something, I'll go to watch that live stream on Instagram just because I know something like that may drop. That's your best bet. I don't always think eBay is your best spot to kind of go after books like that. That's just my opinion. But I don't. When you say owns most of their collectibles, as far as the comics, like a lot of them were in the 1940s by Dell, stuff like that. So uh, outside of comics, I'm not too sure, but comics definitely like Dell and other ones prior can get quite expensive, believe it or not. Derek, over under the Jets wins at 6.5 this year. So I'm the guy that thinks the Jets are going to go around 500 on 8-9 or 9-8. So I'm going with the over. I love their coach, one of my favorite players growing up as a kid. Uh, I like hard ass coaches. I'm a football guy. I've coached it. I played it. If you're a hard ass and you get guys motivated, the mistakes will kind of die down. So I do think the Jets are going to be a decent team this year. There's still a lot of holes. Quarterback is a big question. Offensive line is much better, much better. Defensive line and the defense in total, I think is a really good defense. If that answers your question, I'm taking that bet over 6.5 all day, brother. If that's the line, I'm betting that. Izzyverse, what's going on, brother? How are you? Oh, I got somebody backstage with a ridiculous name. So I'll bring him in a second. But Izzy says, what upcoming project, comic, movie, or whatever are you most excited for? I think this is an easy one. If you're watching my channel, you know it's the Masters of the Universe film that's coming out in 2026. I've done a lot of content on the movie, and I will continue to do so as it goes forward. And as we get more information, I'd like to have more people actually to come on and talk about it as well who are interested. I'm trying to get Pixel Dan to come on, who's a big MOTU fan. I've emailed him a couple of times, hoping we can work something out. A couple other MOTU fans. I've had Triple G on not too long ago. We did a podcast together talking about the movie and the toys, stuff like that. Comic wise, like I said, I'm not a modern guy, so like I'm not really looking for new books that are coming out project wise, but vintage stuff. I'm happy to see vintage picking up again. Bronze Age is really hot. A lot of Bronze Age keys are really flying right now. Silver Age is still kind of lagging behind, and Golden Age is kind of steady as well. At least the keys are. DC is the one thing I've seen that people are starting to really pick up, appearing on definitely top tens all across YouTube. But you got to be really picky on what you're going to buy DC, because I'm not a fan of everything that people are talking about. Okay. So Jay says those Motu figs are on card, brother. That is awesome. The one thing I'll say, Jay, is I'm worried, and I have two carded figures. I'm worried that in 20 plus years, nobody's going to know what Motu is anymore outside of people our age. So I'm hoping the movie kind of reignites that, and people and children especially kind of get into this, franchise. But that's what kind of makes me nervous about buying Motu right now. I'm reading some of the comments. Tiker 2. What's going on, man? How are you? Hey, Lawrence, have you bought any books lately? What's been your latest pickup? So I did pick up a crime suspense story, 17. I think I've showed you guys that before. It's the awesome pre-code horror where the guy's getting his brains blown out right on the cover. That's one of my favorite books that I've wanted for a really long time. Outside of that, I really haven't bought many books. Okay. I've said this before. I've kind of like sold a lot of stuff, and I'm right at the point right now where I think this is going to be my collection moving forward. Doesn't mean something won't catch my eye, because there are times I see something on live sale that I've never seen before, or even more so when I do my top tens on Tuesday that, you know, it's like I've never seen it. I learned something new. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Maybe if I find it for cheap, I want to buy it. Like Action 419 was a book I always talk about on that show. That great Neil Adams cover. If I could find it for the right price, I'd buy it. I'm sorry, I did buy a House of Secrets. I forget the issue number. It might be 114. The melted face, the ice cream melted cone. I bought that for $40 on somebody's live stream. It's right here. Let me show it to you. Give me a second. All right. So 123. That's the cover. And this is a book that I found for the first time on that top 10 comics of the week. So like when I saw that, I'm like, oh, it's pretty cheap and it's a really cool cover, $40. I'm like, ah, shit. I bought it. I was looking for a little bit and then I saw somebody post it. I'm like, yeah, $40. I'm all over it. There's another one. The 114 is the one also from that list. It's the girl ice skating and like all the skeleton hockey players are chasing her. That's another one. Like if I could find it for a good deal, I'll definitely pick it up. Let me let my guest in, even though guest, you have to change your freaking screen name because Josh Allen is one of the most
Absolutely not.
overrated quarterbacks in the league. He's a good quarterback,
Yeah, you would. Right. You would say that for being a Jets fan.
dude.
Right. MVP, baby. And he's winning the MVP this year,
2000,
and we're winning the Super Bowl.
yeah. How many Super Bowls did the Bills lose in the 90s in a row? Four? Yeah, four.
4.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah.
listen. I don't want to get on the football talk, but I think he's a great player.
Oh,
He's got great taste in women. I'll give him that. And
100%.
but I think the Bills are going to take a
And he's
step
from
back.
California.
The Bills are definitely going to take a
No.
step back this year. The Jets are better.
Mm.
The Patriots are better. The Dolphins, I think, are going to be terrible.
Yeah, we'll revisit that conversation about midway.
Yeah. Well, we play.
But how about
We
this? We could change it for football. I say McDaniels, the Dolphins is fired by
Yeah, I
midseason,
agree. I
and the
agree.
Cincinnati Bengals, yeah, Cincinnati Bengals don't make the playoffs.
But
Those are my two hot
the
takes.
Bengals are hit and miss because their offensive line is terrible. I don't want to make this a football chat. We could talk about football all day because I'm a big football guy. But Burrow gets hurt every other year. The offensive line is terrible. The
Yep.
defense is overrated. So, and they're in the toughest division in football with the Steelers, with the Ravens, and even the Browns are a decent team. They're not bad. They've lacked a quarterback, but their offensive line is good. The defensive line is great. So we'll see. But that's enough for the football for now, my friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me keep going with the chat because there's still a lot
Yeah.
of questions, man. You can answer some of this stuff too. I bought a DD1 Helmuth presents, by the way. Thanks for joining us tonight. I bought a DD1 4.0 CGC during the boom. I should have waited and bought a better copy. I love having a copy, but this one is not for me. I would like to upgrade and get a better one. All right. So is that a question? No. But if you want a better one, this is the way I handle upgrades. I'd rather sell the book first and then buy another one because if I want to trade with someone and then give them cash on top of it, they always want more. You know what I'm saying? Dealers always want cash over trade. all the time. So they're always going to want more in some type of trade. So get the best money you can for that 4.0 that you have and take that cash and move it into a better looking 4.0 or a higher grade, whatever you want to do. That's just my opinion. What do you think on that, bro?
Yeah, sounds solid. But I like for me in comics, I'm pretty much done, dude. Pretty much retiring. Pretty much I'm selling everything. I already lit my bad.
He went dark.
Yeah, I gotta go out screening. I got my boys, wife's, out there hustling, working a double. Uh, pretty much done with comics, dude. I've listed my whole X-Men run. Uh, I'm just gonna sell off, bro, and just one or two more keys, get Marvel digit. What is it? Digital Marvel
Yeah,
Now,
agreed.
and go ahead and call it a
I
career.
I hear
Yeah,
you, brother. Sometimes
yeah. It's just
I still want to talk about the medium. I still do buy some stuff here and there. I go to my LCS all the time, try to pick up stuff, try to help them, support them, whatever I can. So I'll never get out of the medium. But like as far as big books, like I'm never going to buy like Tales of Suspense 39 unless I get it like for a ridiculous deal where I think I can make cash on it. But I'll still buy like once in a while some new books that come out, some awesome covers that I learn about. That's my thing now. If I learn something new or I see something on this list that I cover every week that I find to be interesting, that's the stuff that I'm buying. And I find that really helpful. I'm not going to lie to you.
yeah. I think I got obviously my 181. That's next year, and I got to get my modern Grail, which is I always forget the issue. There's Captain Marvel 14 or 17. She's on a blimp or she's on a Zeppelin, whatever you call that. I think it's a blimp. I think it's 14. I think it's 14. Like, I don't know. It's like a first cameo of Kamala Khan or something like that. But that's just like a modern grail. I'm a Carol Danvers fan. So those are my two books I got my eye on next year. No more buying books this year. I've canceled my one of my subscriptions, and I'm only pulling Sonics, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and War Rivals, and that's a wrap.
All right, man. Just like I said,
No,
everybody's cutting back a bit. The economy is not great, so totally understandable. I want to talk about Jeff here. Jeff Fonzo says, "What's up, Lawrence? Had a good time at the Tucson Comic Con. Picked up an ASM 14, something I've wanted for a long time. That's awesome, Jeff. That's one of the first books that I actually picked up when I got back into collecting comics. You know, I'm a big Spidey guy. Everybody knows that, but like getting those keys." For me was a priority. I've had them all in the past, but I wanted to recollect them. Collecting with my son, this was years ago. He's not really into comics that much anymore, even though he still loves the Marvel movies. But congrats on the pickup, my friend. Great purchase. I think those Spidey villain keys, especially 1 through 20. I always say 50, 100. I'm sorry, not 100, 101 and 129 are some of the best books that you can buy, no matter what. Philip Patel, what's going on, brother? Thank you again for the super out. You've been really, really generous tonight, and I do appreciate it, my man. I asked on a modern comic live the panel what they thought of an ASM one, and they asked me which volume. Do you think the youth are going to ignore vintage? I just think the youth can't afford vintage. That's just my opinion. But I've had this.
yeah, I agree with
I've
that.
had this conversation and a while back with Swag Mickey at Swagloss. I had him on my channel. We talked about the comic book market, and we talked about a lot of people when they get into the hobby, they are kind of super intimidated by some of the vintage stuff and especially the more expensive stuff. So they kind of dip their toes with the modern things to see if they like it, to make sure they're not overstepping their boundary when it comes to money. And I totally understand that. So that's the field that they play in for now. And until they get more comfortable, they learn more things, stuff like that. So I think that's totally okay. As long as, in my opinion, you're not overspending for some of this modern stuff, I think it's fine. I personally, having been in the medium my almost my entire life, it's easier for me to jump into the vintage and spend on an ASM one as opposed to not really having my foot in the door and then jumping in with some modern stuff because it's less expensive and it's a little bit more, I don't want to say, less of a risk. That's a better way of putting it. What do you think, brother? Josh Allen.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. Well, I'm a modern guy because like I was out of hobby for 30 years, so I came back 2015. So I've hyper focused on the modern as far as reading, as far as collecting. I'm familiar with the modern market. I do a bit of copper, but like I already have all that. So there's I'm keeping my slabs. There's some stuff I'm keeping, and there's some stuff I still want to read. If it's Marvel books, I can read it on Marvel now. But I don't do Golden Age. I don't do silver. I don't do bronze. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm a simple collector. So I'm hyper focused on 181, like that Captain Marvel, and that's probably about it, dude. I kind of want to get. I'm a huge Skin of the Children fan. I used to. I had a bunch of those variants, A98s. I sold them all. I kind of want to go back and get the bathtub cover, which is issue 3, second print, and that'd probably be it.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm a simple
I
collector.
think a lot of people are.
It's even easier.
I think a lot of
Yeah,
people who collect vintage, and I hate to say this, I don't want to say a lot because that's the wrong terminology, but the people I see, especially on Instagram, or the people who buy books are trying to flip books. And I don't want to get into that
mm,
scenario. That's not me. I've done that in the past, and it becomes like, well, what happens when things don't move? And then you're stuck with all this stuff, and you have to drop prices in order to sell it. And I don't want to be on that pogo stick trying to do that. That's the thing. Like if I see a lot of people buying on live sales who then, go ahead and sell the shit on Whatnot for a higher price, or eBay, wherever they sell books, that maybe they're dealers, they go to shows. So I don't want to do that. If I had to do that, I probably would, but um, for right now, I do think those are a lot of collectors out there. But then you have people who go to like shows and stuff like that who just buy for their personal collection. They come in with lists, they come in for stuff that
right.
they want to buy, whether it's run filler, whether it's keys, whether it's people who are still trying to buy, bigger stuff for their own personal collections. I think that's awesome because that's what this hobby, in my opinion, is about. You and your friends or your children or whoever it is going to these events and going on these live sales and adding something to your life that makes you happy. That's what it's really how I want to say it.
Yeah, flipping is
It
hard,
is.
I think, nowadays. With the market the way it is, which is, I don't know, you might maybe know more about this than I would. It's stabilized, it's probably where it should be, right? So I don't know if you can buy a $5,000 book to try to flip it for more than that down the line. I think that time has come and gone.
Yeah.
I think it's the traditional, let me go dig, find a variant, find a second print that I could flip versus spending, big money in the book that you're probably going to lose on. So I think if you buy a big book and you intend to flip it, you're
Yeah.
losing off the
It's
rip.
tough. It really is. There's a great question here from John Ban. What's going on, man? How are you, brother? Since collecting begins and ends with money, has your better half gotten you for spending too much? This is like, I think
Absolutely for me.
everybody who is married or has a significant other, you're gonna come in, you know, contact with this no matter what. There's no question. Um, I gotta say, my wife is pretty good about not bothering about this shit. We do keep certain things separate. So I have my money that I can spend. She has her money that she can spend. We more also break each other's balls. Like I'll break her balls, even though she don't have balls, about Amazon packages coming to the house every fucking day. I'll say, what's it today? What kind of bullshit did you buy today that we don't need? Stuff like that. And when I go to a show, when I go to our shows, what'd you buy? What'd you do? Oh, but it's more so like me breaking her balls about the shit that she buys. She say, "What about all the shit that you buy?" And this is my answer: the shit that I buy, I can resell and get my money back for the most part. I may lose a little money, I may make a little money, but
Hmm.
like my shit is resellable. The shit you buy is not.
Yeah.
And that's my answer. She really can't
Yeah, my
say.
wife does the
You
same
can't
thing.
say anything to that, right? Because like if you, I mean, unless you don't sell anything. But my wife knows I sell plenty, so.
Yeah, that was always the issue. And plus she has seen me, she has seen money come in. She has seen me pay a mortgage or 2 months off of comic books. And you know what I mean? So but yeah, but still, I still have overspent big time. Like probably my whole collecting career. I've made some money, but then I just feel when I do the math, if I sit there and do it legit, I'm just Peter Paul. You know what I mean? In reality, I'm just getting money back that I spent on my pools over a period of time.
Your children okay back there, man? I hear people screaming.
They're just they're just being boys. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off because it is like 7:50. I just want to come in, pay respect. You're one of
Thank you,
my
brother.
guys, but it
I
is
w
what 7:52 Central, so it's about bedtime for these dudes, even though there's no school.
and we're still gonna do
So,
that we're still gonna do that podcast. Dorothy's gonna come on the podcast. We do have a
oh
special
yeah,
topic
yeah,
we're gonna talk about. I had to cancel on him last week as my
no,
son
it's
hurt
all
his
good,
shoulder,
brother.
but I'll get you on soon, brother. All right. Thank you for
Yeah,
hopping
no,
on.
it's all good, brother. Absolutely, have fun. All right.
See you, bud. Bye.
All right.
All right. Thanks for Darth for jumping on for a bit. Derek, the AFC is definitely not better than the NFC North. So the NFC North, I think, is going to take a little bit of a step back. Vikings definitely will not be as good. Their first year quarterback who got hurt last year has no playing time. Green Bay got Micah Parsons. I still don't think they're a dominant team. Detroit's the best team in that division, even though they lost both coordinators, in my opinion. In Chicago, I'm still not sold on that coach either. I know he's a great offensive coordinator, but that doesn't always transition to a great head coach. And I don't like their quarterback whatsoever. Caleb Williams, to me, is overrated beyond belief. So I still think the AFC North is better. Why? Because they have better quarterbacks. Um, Aaron Rodgers, of course, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. The Browns, you know, right now they have Joe Flacco. So other than that, you look at the AFC, the NFC North, their quarterbacks are all young guys basically. Even though Jared Goff to me is the best in that division. So Mercury says, Mighty, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man 94 #1 that's coming out next week on New Comic Book Wednesday? That's going to fill in on the finale of Spider-Man animated series. I'm a big fan of that series. I knew nothing about this, but yeah, I've been a huge fan of the animated series growing up as a kid. And I actually think Spider-Man Brand New Day, they're going to kind of trying to portray that series with the Punisher. I think with the van and everything we saw from that series is going to be a little bit akin to what we saw in that cartoon. So I'm really excited about it. I didn't know about Spider-Man 94 #1, so I would definitely check it out. I'm glad you told me about it because that gives me an excuse to go to my LCS and pick it up and read that because I still do read new comics once in a while when there are things that pique my interest like that. So thank you, Mercury, for mentioning it to me because I definitely will check it out. And I say next time I'm doing a live stream or you can send me a message on Instagram, I'll let you know what I think of it when I pick it up. Darth is riding off into the sunset. Yeah, listen, man, when you get to a certain point in collecting, I understand. Like Derek, are you still collecting stuff? And that's one of the questions like I have for myself that that kind of I said that I wanted to cover tonight is, what are you guys buying right now? Are you guys still buying books? Are you not buying books? I don't know. I definitely want to hear from you guys and what you think, because it's definitely something that I think that people, including myself, want to know if people are still buying books. Because, like I said before, a lot of people are still buying to flip right now, flip on other platforms. If you buy on Instagram, you sell on eBay or sell on whatnot, stuff like that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Mark Osler, what's going on, man? In my opinion, modern comics have too much dialogue, too many talking heads, not enough action. I recently scored a 35-cent Rawhide Kid comic, and it's full of action. I agree with you. I always say this, and I probably repeat myself ad nauseum sometimes, but when they changed the paper to comics, I feel like modern comics went down. And I know that's not to anything you're saying in this comment, but back in the day, comics had a lot more action sequences or a lot more panels to comics. Now everything is a full page, right? You go back to the 70s and 80s to an extent. When you got into the 90s, we got into the McFarlane things where you'd have two words on a page. But I agree with you. There's a lot more story going on, a lot more people having conversation, which leads to better flow, in my opinion. You got more out of it. So I'm 100% agreeing with you, Mark. I think you're right on the money with that one. Cowbell says hello. What's going on, Cowbell? Well, what do you consider modern? That's the thing. Claremont's run, I don't consider modern. It's copper to me. So to me, I don't really consider that. Maybe early copper, um, bronze and copper, I meant to say. But modern, I consider like when we got into like the mid 90s and now, that's what I'm really referring to when I say modern. Izzy, still here with me, man. What's going on? I'm at the point of shrinking the PC for bigger keys. I have 60 short boxes of Reader comics. Oh my God. 60 short boxes. Could you imagine? You could have your own LCS, bro. Start setting up at shows trying to sell that stuff. Good modern keys, but I need to make more space in this small space. Yeah, man, that's a lot. That's something I never wanted to do was get like that many books in my collection. I knew I'd be overwhelmed, but I get it. If you're a big reader or you like buying, modern stuff or weekly books, and it's easy to pile up very, very quickly. Joey Campos, the last few submissions I've had to CGC resulted where the book is bowed towards the center where they don't stack and usually actually spin if if you stack them on top of each other. Anyone else seen this? Yes, 100%. This is a thing now I've heard with CGC over the past like 6 months, I believe it. That a lot of people are saying that the book is bending in the middle. That's the whole banana thing, right? Where they don't stack and actually spin if you stack them on top of each other. Now, what do you mean spin? Um, I'm assuming they're in an inner well, but I have seen some people report that their comic hasn't been in an inner well, getting them back from CGC. So I'm a little confused, but obviously the book is bowed 100%. I still think that's going on. I know they were trying to address the issue, but I guess they haven't addressed it completely because Joey still said he's having books showing up bowed. And I think that has to do with the inner well itself, to be honest with you. But I don't really submit books that much anymore. I did send a shipment over to PSA and they just put it in their system after a little bit of a snafu on my end. Has anyone else submitted books to PSA yet? And how have your experience been? What did you submit? Did you like the case? Did you like the label when you got back? When I get my book back and it's something that's totally different, it's not a standard comic. I'm excited to get it back because I want to see how they handle this thing. And I think when you have a new company like PSA, I shouldn't say new company, but a new, genre that they're going after in comics, I want to see how they handle something different. And I am excited to show it on the channel when I get it back. Mercury says, I'm the youth. I just think we're impatient and get everything and anything. It just takes us longer to save up for the higher quality vintage. I totally understand, man. I always say, and this is only from my experience, in that if I'm a collector just coming into the hobby right now, I want to buy the bigger books first. Why? Because you can always get the smaller books later. You can always get the new variant cover later. You can always get those new books that come out later, especially after they've dropped significantly in price, like these con exclusives, stuff like that. That seems to be the trend where they go up as soon as they come out and then they drop later on. There are a few exceptions to that rule, but it really depends on the characters you enjoy, the artists you enjoy as well. I've just always grew up with the characters, so I'm maybe from a different time frame than you. So I grew up loving 60s comics and 70s comics. So it took me a while to get into Golden Age, believe it or not. So I'm glad I did, but it's also I think it's very hit or miss with the Golden Age. Again, Patel Philippe, thank you so much, my friend. $5 super chat. You think Absolute Batman 1 first print is upside in the future? Seems all the kids love Absolute Batman and it's a new volume, although lots of variant covers. I think you could still have the uh the A cover for relatively cheap, even graded. So no, I don't think it is upside. The story and the character may have upside, but as far as value, no. There's very few modern comics that I think have upside in the future. And I probably can count them on one hand. Right now, Invincible is going absolutely crazy, and I'm not jumping on that bandwagon about when the first show came out, when the first series aired on Amazon Prime. That's when I think you kind of could have gone on board if you weren't an Invincible fan. You could watch the show, go back and read some of the comics, buy some of the books for cheaper than they're going for now. But I do think that this book can have lasting power. Ultimate Fallout 4, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, I think down the line, if those characters are treated properly, people seem to flock to those two because of the whole Spider-Verse. And, you know, there are a lot of people out there who gravitate to those characters, whether they're females, whether they're Hispanic, African American, having a Spider-Man in their culture. I think it really plays to them. And I think that's awesome. Love the characters as well myself. So I do think those three especially have lasting power. Book like Walking Dead is a really like a big anomaly to me because there are people who are so infatuated with that show and the comic did. I'm anxious to see what happens later. Aren't they rebooting something or continuing on with the story? I would like to see what happens with that comic going forward, but long term, I'm still like unsure about that one. Those are the four though that I think in my mind when we're talking about modern that I think I'd want to hold for the long term. As a Canadian buyer, Hulk 181 is a dream book, but USD to Canadian sucks plus duties and import fees. Yeah, right now, unfortunately, that's a big deal for outside of the US buyers. Um, might be a good thing to try to see if somebody has one that actually lives in Canada right now. There are a lot of Canadian sellers out there, people who live in Canada who do own these books. Um, if you have access to Instagram or maybe put out a post if you follow a lot of these people, say, I'm in Canada. Does everybody have an Incredible Hulk 181? Stuff like that. If you are looking, but I agree. It's an awesome book. I always say there's 10 books from that Bronze Age that I want to own, and Hulk 181 is probably in that top three. Me personally, I know ASM 129 is a relatively common book, but because I'm a Spidey guy, I'm a Punisher guy, that's a book I want to own. But Giant Size X-Men 1 is the book that, because it's square bound, because it's white, because it's really hard to get that book with the fantastic colors, I think that's the one that has to go on the top of the list. And then Marvel Spotlight 5 will be that fourth one. And I can go on and on down the Bronze Age list at the 10, but those are the ones that I definitely want to own. But definitely, if you're a Wolverine fan, that's a book you got to own, folks. I get that. Phil, what's going on, my friend? I'm saying hello to you. I do have a couple other things planned for you guys, so don't go anywhere tonight. I have some cool things that I want to show you and unbox, but I want to get through all the questions because those are important. And while I show this other stuff, you can always ask more. So, Derek, thanks for hanging out, and I'm gonna plug the channel membership as low as 199. I have a couple of really great guys who are here tonight who are channel members, and it's as low as 199 a month to support the YouTube channel. If you're interested, you get 99% of my videos early access to them. So like right now, my top 10 comics of the week is already done. It's not coming out to Tuesday for everybody else, but I know Derek already watched it and he commented on it. So I think I'm back. I don't know what the F just happened right now, but I got logged out and hopefully I'm back. I don't know what you heard or whatnot, but I'm live hopefully still. So there we go. All right. Well, that was fucking weird. And now I can't click on messages. So I don't know what's going on here, folks. I have no idea. But right now I cannot click on anybody's message. So somebody let me know if they can still hear me because it says I'm live, but some of the comments I cannot click on, so I don't know what's going on. Regardless, I'm going to keep going here. Hopefully somebody can hear me. In fact, let me go on YouTube to see if I'm still live because this is just insanity right now. Give me 1 second, folks. I may not even be live anymore. Who the hell knows? Give me a second. I'm good. Okay. That was weird. I had to just restart the whole fucking thing. So I apologize, but it says I'm still live. So I will continue with all this stuff here. Man, that was wild. I've never seen anything happen before like that. All right. Let me continue here. Mercury, what's going on? What I think the youth gets wrong, they see the older generation that have been successful flipping and they spend more thinking they can make the same money back without the experience and knowledge. I agree 100%. I think that you gotta do your research, right? That's why they have Go Collect. That's why they have GPA analysis. That's why they have all these tools for kinda buying right now, and I hate to say it, that's why people like me who are willing to help anyone else in this hobby, whether it's through, IGDM or email or whatnot. You guys have no idea how many, DMs I got or emails I get asking questions, and I'm always here to help anybody who wants help. So, you know, people who are new to this hobby, they just have to ask. Don't be too shy about asking. I think there are a lot of people out there who are willing to help. Izzy says, your wife then says, and the couch is what you spend. That way you can't flip. 100%. Now she's good about that, about not kind of, I don't want to say getting involved, but sometimes the less she knows, the better. And I'll put it that way. She'd probably freak out if she knew how much I spent on certain comics, how much an AF-15 costs. But I think she trusts me. Um, I've been doing this for a while, and her son's been involved, and we've kind of done this together. So she sees, what this has become. I think she gets more annoyed with the YouTube thing, how much time I put into it. That's more annoying to her. Phil says EAGLES Eagles. I have a lot of Eagles fans who are my friends because I went to college in Philly, Phil. So uh J Mills 181. What's going on, my friend? Picked up a 6.0 X-Men 1 today with all the trade money. If not, wife would kill me. Either way, brother, congrats on a 6.0 X-Men 1. That is a keeper. Congrats, man. That is a big book. I'm always happy to see people who pick up their grails and bigger keys and stuff like that because it shows you that the hobby is not dying. People will still want to buy these big books, especially if they're X-Men fans. So great job, my friend. I th- Michael L says he's just trying to get the first 20 ASM, and I think that's the way to go, my friend. I don't think there's a better buy than Silver Age Amazing Spider-Man. I would just stick to the keys. That's just my opinion. Get those first, and then if you want to bang out the non-keys in that first 20, because while the non-keys are cheaper, you could probably find a lot for like $300 in low grade, um, 3 to 500. I think the keys are the harder part of it. Chef, what's going on, my friend? You working tonight? He says he's just passing by. And again, I have to apologize. I don't know what the hell happened with StreamYard, but I believe we're good now. I'm buying Marvel keys, Silver Age grails. They are so down. I think it's a good time. If I was rich, the Golden Age books, also DC and Cap. Yeah, man, I'm with you. If you're a long-term holder, I say it every week on the Hot 10 breakdown. 100% to be buying silver right now. I think bronze you can get any day of the week. I think there are a lot of great Bronze Age books. Don't get me wrong, but silver has been beaten to death. And if you're a Marvel fan, especially, silver is where it's at. Jeffrey Fonzo, I was talking to the vendors down at the Tucson Comic Con, and they all said sales are really solid. Most said people were more willing to buy cheaper back issues over high priced keys. Interesting. So I heard that at San Diego Comic Con, the booths were actually doing pretty well. I heard at Terrificon in Connecticut that people were actually paying top dollar for keys as well. So I'm hearing a lot of the same things from you, Jeff. I did hear that keys are moving at some of the shows that around my area, but I'm glad to see people are buying books. That's regardless, that's what we want. That's people spending their good money on the things that we love about this hobby. So that's awesome. Dan Della Torre. What's going on, brother? How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. I love your avatar. Toss 39. Tiker says, I'm still buying cool things I come across. Pit 1, 9.9. Wow. Awesome. ASM 129, 9.6 pedigree. Holy Christmas. That must have been a fortune. And X-Men 141.98 have been my last three. Congrats, man. All well worth it. Oh, man. 9.6 pedigree. I don't even want to ask what that cost you. Beautiful. Jay Bills. Can tell you from trying to sell someone else's collection of modern variants, don't buy them. Signatures or not, unless already a proven high value book, they almost all go down 95% what you think. And I agree with you. That's why modern books are meant to be read. I will give a caveat here. Some of the modern art, especially cover art, is so phenomenal. I understand why people want to buy it. But if you can get them for cheap, I will say anywhere from $5 to $20, I'd be a buyer just to have because you love the art. Anything more than that, I think it's too much money because the interior value is not there. It's just not. It's never going to be there. Unless there's something inside that book that makes it valuable, there's not going to hold value. So this is how far I am behind the comments because of all the fucking StreamYard bullshit. Not StreamYard. I'm actually using Restream, so let me apologize to StreamYard. Derek says I have a submission at CGC and one at PSA right now, both just sitting there. Hope to have them back soon. So Derek, can you tell us what's at each of them? Where was it like also what tier, if you remember? That would be really helpful in going with the chat. Maybe we can get a little talk about more about PSA and CGC right now. JB Weiner 63. Hello, everyone. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I love that. I love that. Guys, don't forget, the link is in the chat. If someone does want to pop on, just asking for good audio. That's all. I love Darth, but the audio was not the greatest because of the kids in the background, even though I love kids. Horvath, what's going on, my friend? You're always commenting on my videos, so I appreciate you, man. Lawrence refuses to acknowledge milk and cheese #1. And he's always making comments like that, which I don't understand. But that's all good, brother. As long as you comment, I'm appreciative of it. Yeah, something happened with the feed, so I do not know what happened. Yes, we're back. So I don't know what happened, so I apologize. You see how far behind I am because of that. But I'm catching up onto all of them. I did a sticky because it was restream. It said, oops, something, whatever, and that was it. And then I thought I was there. I was not there. So I restarted and we're back. Luis is about to take over the stream like Comic Tom. Yeah, I'm being hacked. I would welcome that. Someone else come on, talk with me. Talk with us, I should say. Talk with us. Jeff says he's got to hang out. I appreciate you, Jeff, for stopping off for a little bit. I'll see you later and catch the rest on replay. Appreciate that, man. Michael says, I have helped him. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. That's what the channel is about. Enjoying some of the things that we all love together. That's the thing. Christopher, bought most of my CGC books in 2022, selling them at a loss. Hard to move fair market value. Bummer. Unfortunately, I get it, man. You know, I was still buying books in 2022 as well. Not many, but I got bit as well. I hate to say it, but it's just part of collecting, right? You have your ups and downs. We have never seen anything like that 2020 to 2022 boom. So no one really expected it. I guess we all should have, though, because of how far and how fast it went. But, you know, we can only live and learn, right? That's all we can do. I always say this, if there's a book or anything that you bought that's, you look at it every day and you're pissed off at how much money you lost, just sell the thing. You will feel better. Sell it for fair market value, whatever it is, you will feel better. Put that money in the bank or put that money in a, a CD or something that gives you a little bit of interest in 6 months or a year. You will feel better about it. That's the way I look at things. So yeah, I think Derek I sent a book to PSA. I'm actually going to be sending another one, believe it or not, but I want to wait till I get this other one back before I do anything. Vinny Whitlock, what's going on, my friend? How are you? Speaking of podcast, Amazing Pop Culture Podcast. How are you, my friend? I have not seen you in a while. I was actually on their podcast a little while back with the super chat. I really appreciate that. $4.99. Go listen to them. Make sure you're subbed up to them on whatever podcasting network you guys choose to listen to your podcast to, because he always does a great job. Wanted to say, hey, Lawrence, and congratulations on your social media success. I really appreciate that, my friend. Great guy over at the Amazing Pop Culture Podcast. Make sure you check him out. So, Izzy, let's see if I could drop the link again. There you go. I dropped it again if you want to hop on for a bit. I pinned it at the top, but maybe it went away because of I had to restart the chat. And I'm actually caught up on the chat. That's awesome. That's awesome. So again, I'm always here to take questions, but I have something for you guys. Okay, check this out. I actually went to a local shop by me, not local, but it's like a half hour away. You guys know we're not just comics here on the channel. I do video games. I talk about arcades. I talk about cards. I talk about garbage pail kids. Talk about everything collectible, right? Because that's what we're about, toys. And I picked up some goodness. Now I was going to show this to on like a video, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. So, who had an Atari 2600 growing up as a kid, or maybe as an adult? But like a couple of years back, they actually came out with a newer version of the Atari. All right, so I think I'm here. So hopefully you guys can see me because it still says live. So regardless, let me continue what I was saying. I went to the shop and I wanted to buy some Atari 2600 games because it got this remade system where they came out with a couple of years ago that can play old Atari 2600 games. It came with 2 new joysticks, 2 new paddles, everything. And I wanted to buy some games so I could play this thing. I have a couple. So I was able to pick up a couple today. So first I'm going to show you is Pitfall. Who remembers that game? One of the best from the Atari 2600. Donkey Kong. Super Breakout. And please, somebody let me know if you could see me so I'm not losing my mind. Gorf. I don't know anybody who played this game in the arcade. Am I back? Somebody let me know if I'm back. Miss Pac-Man. I'm going to try restarting again. All right. I had to redo this again. I don't know what's going on, folks. And Izzy, I see you in the background. I'll bring you in.
There you go. I'm seeing you struggling, bro.
Dude, I don't know what's going on tonight with this stupid thing. It keeps knocking me out, and I have to restart the whole thing.
Is it the
What the F is...
network or is it the stream?
No, I have full whatever, so I have no idea. No idea. Did you guys see any of my games I put up or no?
Yeah, we saw the games.
All right, so there's more. Hold on. There's Popeye, who I don't know whoever loved Popeye as a kid, but I love this game growing up as a kid. Centipede.
That one I remember.
Yeah. Everybody probably remembers Qbert as well.
Yep. I've never played Qbert. I remember it, but I never played it. Never played it.
No. Oh my God, you're killing me. Grand Prix, which I don't think I ever played this one, but I picked it up. And then Pole Position. Everybody knows this game from the arcade.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I played plenty of times.
And believe it or not, he had a Pac-Man still in box from the 2600, which is wild to me. I know they're not expensive at all, but I'm like, these are all like $5 each. So like I bought the 2600 to play. My wife got it for me a couple years ago, and I only played it a handful of times. So I'm like, I know the games are cheap. Let me go pick up a few and just play them because I miss playing some of these things. But that was my pickup. But I also got finish what you're saying.
Yeah, interesting that it's so low in price. I didn't know that without that affordable, man.
For some reason, the 2600, Yeah, Amazing Pop Culture Podcast. Am I streaming for my 2600? I don't know, dude.
That's a good
Restream
one.
tonight is like I've this never happened to me where remember last time I did this? Like the I couldn't like do certain things with the mouse. Remember that?
Yeah, I've been playing with Restream lately, and I'm not sure yet. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I never had this happen before. For tape
mhm.
stuff, I usually use StreamYard, but I think the look of Restream looks a little better. That's why I used it
It's a
for
cleaner
live
look.
stuff.
I actually like
Yeah.
the weird, stupid little corner edges. I like to round them out. I think that looks nice and cool and stuff like that. So that's my little thing when it comes to stream
Yeah.
to restream. But
It's wild tonight. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
yeah,
Derek
man.
says my kids are picking up the landline, screwing up his dial-up. Yeah, 100%. I don't
AOL just ended.
I know I saw that. Right, that's crazy.
Like just recently, I was like, really? Someone actually had 56K modem?
So while before I get to the next thing I want to show, the fact that you're on here,
Mhm.
it was one of the one of the topic points that I wanted to bring up is the CBC awards, and me or you are up for the same um award, and that's what
You
best
can have it.
speculation content. Is that right?
Yeah, you can
Best
have it.
Now, I want to ask you because do you think that the videos that we do are speculation? I don't think they are. I think they're more like reporting and information over speculation. Correct?
I'm not specking. I'm reporting what's being specced, right?
Exactly.
Um, so, but I guess it falls under the category. Um, I don't know because I think what we do is just we report what we have. Like in your case, you're reporting the hot tens and the trendings, and I'm doing the trendings where, as you know, I consolidate everything and just put it together to get a more
Now
accurate,
I'm losing you, and your audio is out
You hear me now? I think we lost him again.
tonight. Connection is lost.
Yeah, I
Holy
hear
fucking
you every so
Christmas!
often. I hear you every so often. Oh, now I'm here. Hey, what's up, guys? Now I am like I felt like a comic Tom now. I just comic Tom'd you.
Dude, I can't explain this, bro. I cannot explain it. I'm gonna
Oh my
try.
god.
I have full bars to my
Mm,
my internet. My speeds are fine, so
mhm.
I have
That's what.
no effing clue. This is just wild to me.
Yeah. So back to your question. What was the question again before we were going in and out?
We're talking about
Um,
the CBC awards.
yeah, the CBCA awards. I always call them CBCA's awards. Yeah, I get nominated for that pretty much since I've started. I've been nominated for that award. Um, Never win. Always a bridesmaid, never the bride. Um, and it's true. But I'm fine falling under that category. I don't have a problem because I don't know what other category it could be because we're not actually, like you said, we're not actually specking. We're just reporting what's being specced. If it was specking, it would be like, hey, you got to check this book out. You got to pick this book up, which I don't think none of us do. I think we do something you mentioned earlier. One of the things we do is we are like we have a sense of responsibility of letting people know if something's worth it or not based on of our knowledge of the game, I guess you could say, right?
Mhm.
Um, you were talking about Invincible and things like that. Invincible is an anomaly, but it's also a low print run book that was considered a throwaway book at when it first came out. So that's one of those modern keys that I probably say. Ultimate Fallout, I think, will have a peak. Um, the peak hasn't happened yet. I think because we have to see a live Miles, and once we see a live Miles, that's when I think we'll hit the peak, especially if Miles tanks. Um, which I think Sony's good might end up doing because that's where they're going. But yeah, like I told you earlier, I got 60 boxes, man. There's hardly any space. They're all in this room too, so it's insanity.
Yeah, I just as far as the CBC awards, like I'm happy to be nominated. Don't get me wrong; it's been a long time coming because I've never been like a finalist, which is cool. But at the same time, like the category that we're in, I don't find myself a speculator. Like I don't speculate on
Hmm.
books. I report, with the key collector reports, both my lists.
Hmm.
My one on Tuesday, I pull what I think are important sales and important information and key books. Sometimes there's not a few keys on there, and I have to really search for some important stuff that I think needs to get covered on that list. But as far as the hot 10 that I do on Thursdays, it's
Hmm.
really just verbatim right from the app on what they're saying. People are
Hmm.
speculating on. We're just reporting that stuff, so I get it. But I just find it wild that they were in a speculation category.
Yeah, I don't think there's actually is. I don't think. I really don't think there's many people that actually spec. You know what I mean? Like actually spec. Like they're giving you this. Hey, I think this is. It's not like a stock market show, right? When you watch a stock market show, that I think, hey, the stock on this brand is going to go up in the next 10 years. I see it. We don't do that. We what we do is we look at the books that are either trending or people are talking about, and we give our opinions because that's what they are. Their opinions, probably a little more knowledgeable than your average person would be, and just say this is what I think. And sometimes our opinions are on point, or sometimes they're not. It's like anybody else, right? But it's not like I've never tell people that this is the book that you are got to hunt down, that that you got to get because this is the book that's gonna put your kids through college. That kind of line, and stuff like that. Instead, I would suggest get a lottery ticket for $1 billion. And here I am live again by myself. What's going on, everybody? Um, you just keep disappearing, bro.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on, my friend. I really don't. But go ahead,
Uh,
finish what you're saying.
no, that was saying the last thing is I said I'd rather have you go get a lottery ticket for $1 billion. That's what I'd rather have you do instead of specking, because I think the spec game is not a wise game. You just in order to be a spec guy, you got to know the ins and out of the movie business, of the comic book business. You got to be literally in there. You got that's specking. You know what I mean? When you're going in and you already know that this movie is already going to get picked up or something like that. If you don't know that stuff, you just get the information from the reports.
Yeah.
It's you're already past it. Like, I'd rather be with the guys that are selling the books before the book actually hits it, because that's the stuff that really interests me. Like, where did they get their inside knowledge from? You know what I mean? That's the
Mhm.
kind of stuff that gets me thinking and stuff like that. But
I appreciate the kind words there, Max. Razor says Metarog never did a present video, but he's in this air this year. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really
mhm,
don't like. I don't really follow the awards that much, but at the same time, like there are a lot of channels that got nominated this year that I don't even know who they are, and that's not meant to be like derogatory towards them. It's just that sometimes like a lot of the shit that gets pushed towards me in YouTube are none of these
mhm.
channels. There are a few people that I do know that I am sub to, but it's wild. And they actually took a lot of the categories away this year, like over 2000. Like if you have over 2000 subs or whatever, that's it. There's no spot for you this year. So
Yeah.
it's like it is what it is,
But I'm fine with that. I'm
right?
fine with that.
Yeah,
That doesn't bother me. I think the original intention was to get people noticed. So I like having people get noticed, um that are really trying hard. They're trying hard to get in this game. And of course, chances are there's, if history proves it, they won't be there for too long. So, and it's never, I don't think it's ever been a competition, you know. So,
no, I've said this before. My fucking video is going out now too. I've said this before is that people who have been doing this for a bit, and I say a bit like 2 years or under, like I didn't start growing until like I was 4 years
yeah.
in. So I mean, and then you really have to evolve too. You can't just do the same stuff over and over and over. There has to be thought provoking content. There has to be, good
Mhm.
editing, stuff like that. So like if you're just doing one thing over and over, I think it's really hard to go. There's very few people, in my opinion, who have kind of stuck with one
Mhm.
formula and have been successful. Like on my hand, I can think of one person
Mhm.
specifically who is like, as soon as he started putting out videos, they just went and he kept growing as fast as he
Yeah.
could. But other than that, it's like what what can we do next that no one else is doing,
Yeah.
right?
And at the same time, it's like, I don't know about you, but I watch something for, and I could watch it for a very long time. Like, I could be very loyal to a specific channel, but then somewhere along the lines, that loyalty seems to fade away. If you know what I mean. Like, when I think of like, I like watching a lot of entertainment news channels, John Campia's, Dan Burrows, those kind of guys. I could watch John Campia. I've been watching John Campia for a while.
Yeah, I watch him
Yeah,
too
and
as
I could
well.
watch him for a while, but before him it was Collider, and then they changed their form. Well, they went through a overhaul, and that kind of led me to John Campia. Dan Murrow's another guy I used to watch all the way back in the Screen Junkie days, and I still kind of watch him. I don't watch him as much as I used to watch him, but that's my point. It's like TV. There's certain TV shows that you'll be loyal to, and then some TV shows you just fall off. You know what I mean? After
Yeah,
a while, they just fall off. Not that you don't want to support them or anything like that. It's just more the I'm moving on. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I know that's the same thing for me. With people that watch my stuff. And that's where I go with and I
You
say,
know,
okay, I got to try something new.
it's funny because I'm keep waiting for people to do something different. Like that's my thing. When I search for a video, I want to see something different that I haven't seen before, and I'm yet to find that yet. Like I want to be like wowed a little bit, and it doesn't have to mean like you have to have incredible editing or shit like that. I want somebody to do something that in our space that hasn't been done before. Even like Tom, like I'm glad that he brought his boards and
Hmm.
what does he call it?
Bags
Bags
and
and boards
boards.
I like because I like listening to that stuff. Like I like podcasts, so I feel like he
Hmm.
he came out like came back with it right after I came back out. Well, right after I came out with mine, so that's a good thing.
Hmm.
But outside of that,
Hmm.
like I want to see like stuff that nobody else has been doing. So I want to say hello to JSS Brooklyn, who is nominated for an award. I believe it's the best
JSA
the,
Brooklyn. What's up, Jay?
the wrench, right? Is the wrench award JSS? Am I right?
Yes, the blue. Yes, the blue wrench.
So there you go.
Yes, he's the blue wrench
Make
award.
sure you vote for JSS.
He supports us by helping us out, monitor our streams, so that would like, like, one of the things I've noticed about restream, it's kind of hard to kind of like chat back, um which I wish I could do more of, which I don't. But yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that helps. There's a lot of good people out there that help out.
So
So.
Mercury says, for me, it's usually someone who changes things up, experiments to see what works and what doesn't, even if it's weird. I agree with you. Like that could be positive content. Like Ricky from All Sorts of Words was one of those people. Like right out of the gate, his content was very different, and I was attracted to it because of that. A lot of very comedy heavy, which I love. Very different from anything we've seen so
Mhm.
far in the space. So to me, like while he hasn't grown as much as I think he should, like he's doing something that nobody else is doing, and that's what I want to see. On a
Yeah.
tangent while we talk about this, and you can continue to talk about this while I show you something.
Yeah.
Anybody here
Yeah, go for it.
collect cards when they were a kid, like baseball cards or football cards? Do you guys remember this? The Fleer 1989 baseball
Yes.
cards?
I think I might have two of them.
Okay. So on my podcast with the sports card dad, we talked about the amazing cards that were in this set. And there was a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, and of course, one of my favorite cards,
Mhm.
the Billy Ripken fuckface card, where at the bottom of his bat, somebody wrote fuckface. And it was a big deal when I was a kid in 1989, and I always wanted that card. So I was at that shop today, and I'm like, you know what? They had a box of these cards, and I bought 5 packs, and I said, what the fuck? Let me open them on air and see if I could pull either a Griffey Jr. or a fuckface card.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm gonna do while we talk about what we're talking about, okay?
Well, Fleeter never caught that with the card?
No, so they did.
They
They in the first run they didn't catch it, and then later iterations there was a black line on the bat so you couldn't see it, and then there was also one with a white out on it so you couldn't see it either. So eventually they caught it,
Yeah.
but if you were lucky enough to find one of those at a pack, it was quite a hoot when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, I could imagine. I didn't know. I actually didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I would die if I got one
What's
now.
that card go What would that card be going
I
for,
have
though? That specific
no
card?
idea. I don't think it's an expensive card to boot, but if you got a PSA, you know,
Mhm.
high grade, it probably worth something. But outside of that,
Yeah.
I want to find one in a freaking pack for God's sake. I think that
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Yeah, I did baseball cards for a very short time period. It was fun. I had a friend who was really into baseball. We were both into baseball. We were like, we were like the Sandlot kids in some way, where we would just trade off our baseball cards and stuff like that. And then I got really into comics. He was okay. He was somewhat okay with the comics. He wasn't like really into the comics, but I got really into the comics, and then kind of like the baseball cards thing just kind of faded away. That's it. I only got into baseball cards. I didn't get into any other sports cards. Um, and it was just a lot. It was a lot for me to handle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So either way, like I figured what they were $3.99 each. So I'm like,
Yeah.
let me pick them up. But here so far we got I've opened 2 packs and we got an NL pitching power with Danny Jackson and David Cohn. I'm a Mets fan. We have a Mattingly. So for all you
Oh,
Yankees fans, and a Mike Schmidt, who's a great player as well. So
I had
far,
that card. I had that card, Mike Schmidt, and I've seen the Don Manley card.
yeah.
Mike Schmidt was a
I
big deal back in the day,
No,
man.
he was the best baseman of that era. No
Yeah.
questions asked.
Hmm.
Mercury says, "I like Tom's podcast, but it feels a little too scripted. Might the one with you and Swaggle House was a really good one. It was heartfelt and really not something you see and hear a lot. I agree. That's why we did it. I approached Swaggle about doing it after he did that, the video he put out about his brother, and I'm like, dude, would you want to talk about
Hmm.
more in depth? Because I have like some stories about myself that I'd like to share as well. Because you
Hmm.
don't know how like this hobby affects people, and I thought that
Hmm.
was a really great take on how he felt, how I felt, and I do think it's a good thing to kind of air, you know,
Hmm.
something about yourself to other people,
Yeah.
especially, on these episodes and stuff like that, or even whatever. So it was a great episode. So, folks, there he is.
You got the Griffey.
Griffey Jr. How awesome is that?
Congrats, man. It's a really sharp card. Now you can send that to
That's
PSA.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Wow. That
Wow.
is tremendous. There you go. See, what worth it, right?
Mhm. Now you
I don't
need
know if
one
I
more
don't I don't
card.
I don't know if I'd rather have that or rather have the fuck face, but I'm enamored with that card.
So
But
what would
wow,
that
we got
card be going for? No. What would that Ken Griffey card go
probably
for?
not. I don't think all these cards are printed to death, so I don't think
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up though while I got you.
Hmm. The Fleer set. I remember it so well. The gray
Yeah, man.
tops and Fleer. I remember. And Donruss.
Three
I remember.
three $3, just so you're aware. So it's worth nothing.
Really? Wow.
That's it. Worth nothing.
There you go.
But this is fun, right? I don't usually
Well,
open up shit live, but
yeah. Just getting the reaction. That's what it's all
yeah,
about.
yeah, man.
Hmm.
Uh, I remember opened so many of these trying to get that FF card, but doesn't look like we're gonna pull it. Mark Grace, a couple other Tony Gwynn, not a rookie card, but Tony
Tony
Gwynn,
Gwynn.
Gwynn,
Tony Gwynn's a great
another
player.
great underrated player.
Hmm.
Died too soon, but
Yes.
so Cross Bronx says now I got to play Mega Millions. I think you're right, brother. Oh, now, oops, we're connecting.
Mega Millions, man. You got to play that Powerball, man. $1 billion last I saw. I think I know what's causing the problem. Hmm. I have a theory of what's causing the problem.
What's causing it?
Every time you hit the chat, that's when your stream goes bad.
I don't know, man. I think I've hit it plenty of times. I don't think that's it, but I don't know.
Well,
But I got to
the
play
minute
Mega
you did
Millions.
it,
He's
that's
right. Yeah,
yeah.
that
The
time it
minute you
did it.
did it,
That time it did it.
yeah. The
But it
minute you
shouldn't.
did
It
it,
should.
that's what it.
That shouldn't happen, though. You know what I mean?
Well, shouldn't happen and happening are two different things, right? None of this
Yeah.
should be happening. You know, I had the
All right.
pleasure
So
of meeting Cross Bronx a couple of weeks ago. So
where
at the Bronx show. So I did a sketch for his. I think it was his niece.
Danny Tarble
Oh,
for all you.
Danny Dartapole. Ooh, he was a Yankee at one time.
So that's it. No Billy Ripken, but
Eh.
I'll take the Griffey.
My father, for some weird reason, he couldn't pronounce his name properly, and he would call him Rat Kidsley. I don't know why. That's how the name came out. So it was weird. Mm. Yeah, there was a time everybody chased for Griffey, man.
Dude,
Hmm.
before steroids, he was the greatest baseball player, in my opinion, no question.
Yeah.
And Barry Bonds, the two of them, I think, go hand in
Barry
hand.
Bonds is one of those guys that if it, he probably would have been in the hall. I'm pretty sure he would have been in the Hall of Fame already if it wasn't for the speculation.
Yeah, of course. Well, there's no speculation. He fucking did it, Barry Bonds. There's no
Hmm.
question. But
Yeah.
before he did it, just like Roger Clemens, they were great players before they did it. But
Yeah.
either way, let's get back to comics. Ian Green says
Yeah.
Griffey over the Billy Ripken all day. I spent my first 20 years in Seattle, and the kid was the truth. Insane how much 89 Upper Deck is spiking. I know, man. That Upper Deck was the real rookie card because that was the one everybody wanted. The Fleer was an afterthought, and that's why it's only $3 now today. But
Hmm.
they printed these cards to death, and that's another issue. But
Hmm.
it is what it is. But are you going to New York Comic Con this year?
Absolutely. I'll be there all 4 days. Well, I'll be there for 5 days. I'm going Wednesday too.
Oh wow! So I wasn't gonna go, but then I said last minute, "What the
You're
fuck?
doing it?
I'm going Friday only." I usually go there and I take the kid to film, but he's not going with me this year. So I'm just gonna go there and kind of film my own look around. I'm not really looking to buy anything. That's why I wasn't sure if I was gonna go, but I didn't go to Terrificon.
Hmm.
I didn't get to go to King Con this year. I was supposed to go, but then I had my kids' playoff basketball game, so I couldn't
Yes,
go to
I
that
do
either.
recall.
So
Hmm.
I had to go to something this year. I could not go to no con. So I'm like, all right, let me just go Friday
Yeah.
and that's it. Go hang out.
N- No, I'm going Wednesday afternoon. I'll be there Wednesday afternoon for the retailer summit that they usually do. And then I'll be there for all the other days, the all 4 days, and then go to Baltimore the following week. So I'm going to
I,
be tapped out when it's all said and done.
I couldn't drive down to Baltimore. I drove down Maryland once, like fucking 5 hours. I am not doing that again.
Yeah, it's not a
It's a
bad
long
drive.
drive.
It's not.
No,
I did the drive to Heroes this year. That's a
that's
long
insane.
drive. It was me and a couple of guys, and we took turns driving. But that was a crazy drive.
I
Um,
I just drove to Canton, Ohio for
mhm.
my kid played in the first game of the year at the stadium in Canton Stadium, Tom
Yeah,
Banks Stadium. That 6 hours, 6.5 hours in the car on one road, 80 all the way down there, man. It was rough. The drive
yeah.
was rough.
I've driven to Ohio. I've driven to Cleveland. I have family up there in Cleveland, so I know that drive. I definitely know that drive. Whew, I hate driving, and I'm usually like the only driver,
Yeah.
which is like the worst part because no one in my family drives. No one wants to drive. I tried to teach my wife to drive, and she was like, "Nah, I'm done." My girls don't want to drive. Like, I'm done. You know what I mean?
No,
So
I don't want anyone driving. I have if I'm in a car, I want to drive because I don't like the way anyone else drives with me. I hate to say it,
mhm.
but it's just how I
it
am. I'm very
it's hard to be in the passenger seat when someone else is driving because
yeah.
your reflexes are actually in a certain way that you get too close to a car, and because you're actually too close to the car because you're in the passenger side, you start thinking differently. You're like, hey, watch out. I hate it too. I can't stand it.
So again, while we're talking about this, like we're always here to answer questions if guys have questions. But what, like I asked this earlier, but what are people looking for? Do you think a lot of collectors are not buying books right now, and it's just the flippers or like because I feel like the people that I know
Hmm.
personally, and when I say personally, I'm talking about like in my local community, New
Yeah.
York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, nobody's really looking for anything in particular. If that, like a book comes up that's like underpriced, they'll pick it up. But other than that, there's not something that they're jumping to buy. Am I right?
You are right. I have my specific group of comic book guys is we're pretty large, and there are some there are the Wednesday Warriors. So they like reading their books and stuff like that, and then you have those that are just they're into getting whatever the big keys are and stuff like that. But I think for what it's worth, I think this is more of a it's a hard time period because I don't think anybody's actually interested in anything right now. We're on a low. Um, and I don't think comic books have been priced well lately. Because I think you
Mm.
you mentioned that before with Terrificon prices. I didn't like the Terrificon prices. I felt like people were trying to get more than what a book was actually worth. and I didn't like that, so I hardly bought. What I did buy, I bought more smaller books that I like that are I kind of like want to have them on a collection just for my own sake. Nothing too crazy, nothing too big or anything like that. So I don't see a market right now of people that are really hunting down specific books. I see a market of people wanting to hunt out books that they might want for nostalgic purposes more than anything. Um,
Mhm.
and that's
And I
about
think
it.
that's why you should buy comic books, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why people buy, really. And then for those who want to read comic books, if you want to read comic books, get the digital ones. There's no harm in reading a digital comic book. Especially now with the price of books being what they are, it's ridiculous. This week is supposed to be like the blind bag Batman books. So the blind
I
bags
saw that.
are
Yeah.
it's that's gonna probably be a big thing this week. I know I got two sitting there for FOC. And I heard Mark Spears ones. Oh my goodness, talking about
He pre-ordered those.
ridiculous.
I saw he's got Garbage Pail Kid ones, like themed like horror ones, which I think are awesome. But it really took
Yeah,
everything in my power not to pre-order it because of
yeah,
how great they looked. He showed them on
hmm
his IG page.
yeah,
They're really great. If you like his art and you like GPK, they're
mm,
really worth it. I would do it,
mm,
but
yeah.
I'm really trying to save money this year.
Well, the trick or treat blind bags, I kid you not. Last I heard was 75 variants in that pack. It's
Yeah,
like
that's what
seriously.
kills it. That's what kills it. Yeah.
This variant I think this variant game is worse than whatever the gimmick game was back in the 90s. I think this is actually worse, and it's hurt. I think it's hurting the market more than anything, where books are not what they are, what the price they should be, simply because of the fact that there's so many variants to a book.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I think that actually hurts this business.
It does.
um and you said you
It's
were talking.
only about money.
Yeah, and you were talking about interiors earlier. It's like no one cares about interiors like they used to. You know what I mean? They just don't
Yeah.
care. And when you
That's
don't
why
care
there's
about the
nothing there
interiors,
anymore. There's nothing
yeah,
there.
they're hollow. They're
Yep.
hollow, and that's why people are kind of like tapping out of the whole comic book collecting game, because there's nothing there that people are just saying I need to read this, or I got to get this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, mm, oh, we're gonna get no Spider Verse characters debuting that no one cares about. Look, Spider Boy debuted a year ago. Now his book's $5 again.
I know that's the point. That's why I stay away from modern unless you just want to read it. And I'm not paying up for reading a book. Let me answer
Yeah.
this question from Cross Bronx Collectibles. I don't know if you answered this, but where does CGC get their prices for the graded pro? How accurate it is? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I understand the question. What do you get their prices for the graded pricing? Do you know what he means?
I don't know what he means, but I would tell you, if I'm assuming, my assumption is they do the number themselves. What they call the cost for grading a book, the
That's what
cost
I don't know
for,
if he.
yeah.
That's what I don't know if he means. If he means the price to grade a book or like the value of a book after it's graded.
Well,
That's you
yeah, that's they're not responsible for what the book is worth graded.
yeah.
That's the market. So they don't do that part. All they do is they grade the book. They couldn't care less, whether the book is $5 or
Yeah.
300.
They'd rather have the book be worth more because they would make more if a book is graded then. But Christopher says I have an ASM 316 roll that came from Foot Locker collection. Does that add value? What is the Foot Locker collection? Because I have no idea. Do you know?
I I haven't ever heard of the Foot Locker collection, but I could find out. Um, I don't even remember hearing about ASM 316. I have an ASM 316 myself,
I think
but not
everybody
a
has an ASM 316. That's why we talk about copper books. Like there's so many copies. I'm not saying you shouldn't own one. You should, but that's
yeah.
why people like in a 9.8. It's like a $300 book. Well worth it. That's why I tell people
It's
if you're
great
gonna buy
cover.
that book, buy it in a 9.8 because it's only $300. It's not the end of the world.
So yeah, I don't even have it's not even listed in cover price.
So here you
So
go. They have he says Crossbar says they have a pricing guide now, kind of like Go Collect. They have values next to each grade now. Where is this on CGC's website? I don't really go to their website that often, so I did not know that.
I go to their website all the time only because I want to make sure I'm getting my books. It's like I don't. So I don't see that. If you could drop the link, maybe I could check. But I don't. They got local dealers, yeah, and maybe that's what you're looking at.
I go to resources and I don't see price guide. There's population report, registry, galleries, chat boards, verification, locate dealers, and other resources. So
Yeah.
you could tell us where he says he meant to say key collector. That's why. Okay.
Oh, key
That
collector.
makes
Yeah.
that makes more sense. 100% makes more sense. Okay.
Okay. Key collector gets their pricing from the market if they do. So
See,
that
the
those are
way they do
averages.
it though, and I've actually reached out to Nick over at Key Collector, and we've gone back and forth over DM. He's supposed to come on the podcast to have a conversation, but we've been
Mhm.
trying to nail down a date. So that's one of the
Yeah.
questions I want to ask him: is where is the data actually pulled from? Because you get like a low, a mid, and a high, and then you go to that price guide, and we're on it right now. And then I'll show you guys.
Mhm.
Like you bring it up, and then you have like a
Yeah.
98, 995. So
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure how he's got a 90-day and a 30-day high, but there's just says NA, and it's something I think that they're still working on.
Hmm.
Like one of these at a 7.0 has a 90-day average of 265 as compared to the graded price of 225. So I'm not sure where he pulls the data from, but that's one of the questions I want to ask him when he comes on. Hopefully he still will come on.
Yeah, because I know Cover Price, they take their data off of averages, and Go Collect get their data out of the averages as
Actual
well. But
sales.
yeah,
But no, they did
but
their
they
actual
also
sales.
they do the sales, but they also do the 30, 60, 90, one
Yeah,
twenty.
that's everybody does that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they do that too. Um, yeah, I look at cover prices numbers for really for raws, where I look at Go Collect's numbers when it comes to the graded. Because I think with Go Collect, the graded sales are a little more accurate to what cover price has. Even though what I like that cover price does is I could actually see the recorded sales that they've had, that they've grabbed. The thing is, what I will really like to know, and this is the question I would like to have, is what marketplaces are there actually going towards? Obviously, everybody takes eBay. eBay's is easy, but are they doing my comic shop? Are they doing other shops and
So
getting those
s- so
getting those
so
numbers?
stay tuned because when I talked to Go Collect on the podcast, that's one of the questions I asked them where they pull from, and they
Hmm.
gave me a bunch of places that they report from. So I don't want to give it away. I want you guys to listen to the
Yeah.
podcast, but that's the question I asked: where does
Hmm.
everywhere they pull
Hmm.
from? And they had
Yeah.
a good answer to that.
Hmm.
But the one thing I'll
Hmm.
say, I like Go Collect. It's a very beautiful site.
Yes.
Everything is side by side. There's a lot of information. And the best thing that you'll find is you can actually pull up the books that sold. And I
Hmm.
love that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of information because not every grade is equal. And that's something we get into in the podcast because you could buy a 9.6 of one book and a 9.6 of another book that it's the same book and the same grade, but they look
Hmm.
totally different.
Yeah.
So having the ability to pull up the actual book that sold is a huge deal. We got into crowd reporting as well. I don't want to give it away, but listen to it because there's so much information there. And
Hmm.
it's a really, really great conversation we had.
Yeah. But I heard they have good articles too, written by some phenomenal writers.
And so let me say that that's one of the things that they said in the podcast. Again, I don't want to get too far into it, but they did mention that as well.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
actually welcome for other people who are looking to kind of
Yeah.
contribute to that as well. And I
Yeah.
know you
I
do that, so that's why
that's
yeah,
why I said
that's why
that.
you brought it up. Yeah.
Yeah, those are that's a lot of work on my end too, because they give me the platform to do it. So just like that, like I told you earlier, it's like I have a video that dropped today. It's actually I think it might have finished already. Um in which I do it was the 80s icon today, and like 2 weeks ago I did 90s with Swaggle. And I want you to one of those videos with me one of these days. We'll go over one of those lists, and we take the list. I generate the information. I grab as much as I possibly can. It's still a little subjective because it's still my list at the end of the day. Um, and then I take that information and then I plant it over at Go Collect, and I put the figures that I could put in there. And I think that's where we come in, as far as we talked about earlier. It's like our intention is to make sure you guys get the best that you could possibly get out of the book. And we've all been there where we probably overpaid for a book and we underpaid for a book. You know what I mean? And I think we all have really cool stories of books that we did purchase at great prices. I look at that. I got that New Mutants right there, New Mutants '98, that I purchased off a dollar bin. You know, there was a time for that. But I also could say I've overpaid for certain books, and I don't want that to happen for everybody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But everybody's gonna do it. Everybody has to go through those learning curves. I think our job is really to, and this is our self-contained job. No one's paying us to do this. Our job is to kind of like get you to get the right deal. I get people who ask me questions all the time. It's like, hey, what do you think about this? And I will well, this is what I see. This is what I read, and based on those numbers, that's the approach I would take with
Yeah.
it. But again, you buy what you want to
So
buy.
this is a great question from Tiger. Lawrence, if you're selling your big books in a signature auction, where are you going to? Heritage, Comic Link, and Comic Connect. It's such a great question because I've had this
Hmm.
conversation numerous times with other people that I'm friendly
Yeah.
with, and it's a hard question to ask. My answer to this is that I'm always going to try to sell books on Instagram first because the consignment pages take less of a fee. Okay. And a lot of
Hmm.
times you could still move big books on Instagram. I sold my Detective Comics 31 on Instagram. I didn't go through auction. I use also Landry Pop auctions as well. I did sell my Batman 1 through there as well.
Hmm.
So I think it depends. I think it comes down to relationships. I'm not going to lie to you. I've used Comic Link a ton.
Hmm.
I've never put something in an auction. I put something in their regular like kind of buy it now, like the I forgot what it's called, but it's not an
Yeah.
auction, but their actual sales pay saves. You can list your books. It's a 10% fee. I've sold stuff through there. I've never
Hmm.
listed anything for Comic Connect. I wouldn't mind doing so.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I would sell something through Heritage unless it was my last resort because it just seems to me that if you're selling a big book, unless you have control of what other books they allow in the auction. So if I'm selling, let's say, a Batman one, I don't want any other Batman
Hmm.
ones in my auction. I don't want any other big Batman books in the auction either, because
Hmm.
that kind of takes away from my book. And I don't want that to
Yeah.
happen. So I know Landry Pop, when I dealt with them, they kind of assured me that there wasn't any other books relating to that book
Hmm.
in the sale. There was that big Detective Comics 27, but someone who's paying that much kind of money is not really worried about a Batman one at that point. But
Yeah.
um, so for me, it's all about relationships. I have a good relationship with Comic Link. I've yet to put something in an auction. I've always list stuff on there. And Comic
Hmm.
Connect, I would kind of do because I know they get pretty good prices for stuff that they sell.
Hmm.
Uh, and I'll leave it at that. And Landry Pop, I have used as well, but I always try Instagram first because the fees are less. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
So Derek asks, how do they get grades of raw books? I think you mentioned raws. Do you know how they get grades of raws?
So the grades on Raws, they're referring to CGC or just how people do grades on Raw books? Because that's according to the seller. So the seller makes that decision whether it's of a certain grade. Like there's some sellers that they'll under grade it, so they'll tell you that the book is an 8.5, and then when you get it, it's like a solid 9.2, 9.4, 9.6. Those are cool. But there's other guys that try to absolutely believe that they're CGC, and they'll tell you, "Oh, this book is a 9.8. Why are you trying to sell me a 9.8? Why are you trying to sell me a raw book in a 9.8 price?" And you see that as well. So you have to be very cautious about certain how people sell, especially when you go to a con. When you go to the con, you could probably pinpoint who are the guys that are overselling based off of what they believe is the grade of the
I
book.
I think he means like how do they get the raw grades for the price data that shows on the website? Like how do they know what a raw sale went for? I'm assuming it's eBay,
Yeah,
right?
it's
I'm
an
assuming
eBay.
yeah, probably eBay or
Yeah.
maybe somebody crowd reported it on Go Collect,
Hmm.
stuff like that. That's my assumption. I can't really
Yeah.
answer that question.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, with cover price is definitely from the eBay sell, what the eBay sell said what it was. If they said something like near mint, and the near mint has a certain range and things like that. So yeah, that's how they do it. Especially when it's new books, it becomes a little easier. The older books are a little more challenging.
So Derek says it also depends on the book. Heritage is especially good for rare golden age, but not great for modern. I agree. But when it
Hmm.
comes to like popular character, like a Batman one, like I mentioned, they're notorious for throwing multiple copies in the same auction, stuff like that. That annoys me.
Hmm.
But other than that, Heritage is the go-to for many people for not just comics, but for toys, stuff like that. We
Yeah.
saw that Wonder Bread He-Man, I call it still, one of a kind item, a really a one of
Hmm.
a kind item
Hmm.
with the shipper, with the letter, all that stuff, sell for $15,000 and
Hmm.
change.
Yeah.
So they're the go-to still. For me, it's just knowing what they've done. I'd kind of want to go my own route first before going to them.
Hmm. Yeah. I see Derek's
Yeah.
question now. They get it from the listings from the whatever was reported because they're just generated. They have a generator that does that stuff. There's not a single person that just actually get it. When a sale is made, they that information comes in through a database. I think it gets updated 3 times a day. Last I heard, um, and that's how they gets that information.
The problem is with raw sales is that you don't know the person who graded the book actually graded it correctly.
And
That's
that's the
the
point.
thing. Yeah, you don't know. It's just like you have to take their word for it. I mean, I've
Hmm.
I've bought books off Instagram live sales where I don't agree with the grade. So it's
Hmm.
just I don't think raw data is really should be tracked because you don't know unless
Hmm.
the seller the data is broken down by seller.
Hmm.
So if I
Yeah,
have
that information won't be
so and
there.
if I have so and so seller and they're selling all these Robux and people are agreeing, like, I'm rating this seller a good seller because the grading is spot on, then
Mhm.
that's a way to track data where it's
Yeah.
kind of, you know, approved
Mhm.
because the guy person, people have said that this person actually grades comics. But then you have if it's not broken down by sellers, it's kind of becomes, well, I could
Yeah.
say this book's a 7.0 and it's a fucking 4.0 and we got to go by what that person actually lists the book for sale at.
Now, keep in mind there are some sellers on eBay who are responsible sellers, and they would, if I remember buying a book from somebody, and it came back to me. I was like, this book was nothing what you said it was, and it has a nasty crease that I won't be able to take out. It looks like it has a little bit of water damage. Um, what can we do? So the answer was, you know what, I'm going to help you out here. I could either refund it the book, you could send it back to me, or whatever. And there's dealers like that, and then there's some dealers that are like, well, that all sales are final kind of thing. And when it's all
So,
sales are final, it's goodbye.
so Izzy, this question is for you from Tower Destroyer. You want to read it? My
That's right.
boyfriend's testicles were bitten off by a camel recently. Should I marry him when he wakes up from his coma or marry his identical twin brother whose testicles are in pretty good shape? So, first things first, I have two answers to this question. Testicles are overrated and you should never get married. That's
well,
two things right
well,
there.
Terrell Destroyer, what a name. Well, thank you for asking. You said no question was off limits, so
No, absolutely not. Go. I gave you the answer, brother. I just gave you the answer. Great question, Taro. Tremendous. Send me a super chat next time if you're going to ask me a question
uh,
like that.
oh my goodness, it just keeps
This
going too.
Yeah, this has to be like somebody obviously they're effing with us, but they have to be like just let me try to say something ridiculous and whatever. Pygmy cannibals, and I have never forgotten it. Congrats to you and your parents, my friend. You have great imagination. I'll give you that. And I love that. You'd probably be a fantastic guest on the podcast.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. So while I got you, you looking for any books right now, or you just or signatures? Because I know you're a big signature guy sometimes.
I just got Jim Lee to sign a couple of books this week,
Where did
so
you
I
see
got
him?
at Midtown. So I decided to get this book
I
signed.
heard it was like a 6 hour wait.
Yeah, it was a long time. There was people making lines as early as 6 a.m.
I saw a couple people that I knew waiting in line. They were posting stuff. I'm like, oh, dude,
Yeah,
I can't wait in line that long. I'll
no,
fucking
so
die.
so so I got this baby signed. I was like, look at that, RoboCop number 2. Just because I knew he did RoboCop and I knew everybody was gonna have like their books, so I wanted to bring a book that he probably wouldn't have saw in it. And I always liked the RoboCop, so I picked that up. I got 2 other books signed as well. Um, Yeah, I got there like around 4 o'clock. My wife got there a little earlier, and they ended up doing a ticketing system. She got there just in time, so they capped the line. It was about maybe like 250 tickets in total. I got a chance to see him at actually 8:15. That's how long
Mm,
it took. Um, and it was one of those situations for me. I have plenty of Jim Lee signatures from back in the day, but I wanted to get like I wanted this more than anything.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, that's probably you're probably the only person who has a RoboCop 2 signature, Jim Lee signature. I'm not gonna lie to you.
and that sucker's going away.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. I wanted to CGC it with Witness, but they wanted to go through their system, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going through your system. I'd rather get a JSA then. You
yeah,
know
I
what I
agree with
mean?
you. And I don't think it's any different in price right now either. So why would you do it? I agree with you
Yeah.
on that one. So I want to say
Yeah.
super chat salesboy comic says Lawrence tell them we are friends, check me out. So yes, salesboy always commenting on my YouTube videos. Make sure you guys
Hmm.
check him out. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Me Through says smash the like button and subscribe, you noobs. Thank you so much, Run Me Through. I agree with that. And again, I got it because the stream was so bad tonight. It was so goddamn bad, and it's not to my doing because it's fucking StreamYard or I mean Restream.
You
Excuse me,
keep
I
you
keep
keep
saying
saying
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
I should have used StreamYard, but what happens is when I go live, I think I said this before. I like to use
Hmm.
Restream because it looks better, but also I save my StreamYard minutes for the podcast because that's how I get people on when I record.
Yeah.
So I like to save it for that. But because the stream was so bad, for all the people that are still hanging out, I'm gonna do giveaway tonight. Okay.
Oh, that's sweet.
As long as you're in the US. As
Hmm.
long as you're in the US. So I have actually some books that were sent to me that I got off a claim sale. They're not expensive. They're like really cool covers, inexpensive covers. So the way I do giveaways is that I want you guys to put a number in the chat, okay? And because we have 18 people as it stands right now, we're going to go a number between 1 and 20. So write a number between 1 and 20 in the chat if you want a chance to win uh, a
Hmm.
giveaway tonight. So 1 and 20, only put it once. I'm going to write my number down right now. So I've written it down right here, and I'll show it to you guys what it is when I reveal the winner.
Hmm.
So pick a number between 1 and 20 if you're in the United States, and I will if you hit that number, you're the winner, and I will mail it to you probably Tuesday of this week because I have other stuff to mail out as well. So there
Hmm.
you go. Between 1 and 20, do it once, do it now. There you
Oh
go. I'm
wow,
starting to see some stuff come through. All
five
right, there
came
we
in
go.
in one shot.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's how bad the lag is, bro. Something's going on with Restream tonight.
There you go. So we got our first. You received 100 messages today with Restream chat.
Yeah, exactly. So Salesboy says he does conservation work as well. So check him out.
Okay, so from what I see, the first name is Run Me Through said 13.
Salesboy 11. I see it. Tiker 7. Christopher Deschambeau 12. I see it down the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got about
Mm-hmm.
9 other people.
Mm-hmm.
10. There we go. We got about
Yeah.
8 others. And I don't know if that includes me and you in that chat. So
Yeah, I
Angry
haven't
Street Y
chatted
Males
though.
with the 9.
Oh, Angry
Okay.
Straight White Male. You got to go back to watch my video. Trust me on this one. You're going to like that one, Angry Straight White Male.
Sorry, Chris. Next time, brother, I'll do a whole thing with Canada, but only because it's so expensive right now to ship. It would cost me more in shipping than these books are worth.
Hmm.
So just keep that in mind. Next time, I will definitely do a bigger giveaway. Trust me, these are small. So
Hmm.
next time, I will open it up to everybody. Normally, I don't limit it, but right now, I kind of have to only because of the
Hmm.
book. If this is a bigger book, I would definitely do it,
Yeah.
but so let me count this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11. So right now it's 10, 11. I'm going to wait till 10, 15, and then we'll call it.
Hmm.
If you put your number in the chat, you're good. If not, you have a little bit more time. It's okay. So what happens is if there's 2 of a number, those 2 people who put the same numbers, I'll do another one with just those 2 people. So don't worry about it. That's how I handle it.
Hmm.
Okay, so you got about 3 minutes left if you haven't put the number in, and then we'll go from there. But wrote down the number a long time ago. So again, I welcome you guys to post any questions you have. We'll probably go to like 10:30, and then I'm going to cut it off. Only
Hmm.
because as much as I love talking to everybody. I feel like Restream destroyed my live stream tonight. I had so many things planned, and it would just
You were at it for a long time already, too, man. What you started 8:15,
yeah, 2 hours.
2 hours is still pretty good, man.
Last time we went 4 hours, which is unheard of for me. I don't usually do that, but it was such a great conversation
Mhm.
that I'm like,
Yeah,
might as well keep it going.
yeah. Tomorrow's a
So
holiday, so I'm
that's
doing the
the only reason.
barbecue. I'm doing
Yeah, that's the
barbecue,
only
man.
reason.
I'm going out. Yeah,
So
we
you're
go.
not barbecuing, you're going out to get barbecue? Is that the case? Or are
No,
you going
I'm going. Well, the thing is, I don't have a house, so I'm on the part. I live in an apartment building here in the Bronx, so we're gonna go to a park and we're gonna barbecue out there. So we got the food, the burgers, the dogs, pork chops, all that fun stuff. Have a nice little
nice?
barbecue. Enjoy it. Enjoy the last day of summer. Really.
I'm laying low tomorrow. I finished the top 10 comics of the week today, and tomorrow I
Hmm.
might show these video games off that I got it.
Yeah.
And I also have some video footage I took at the store. It'd be a quick video. Other than that, like I'm just chilling. Nothing going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done like I've been to other people's barbecues, but we haven't done one all year. So this is probably the only one we'll have chance to do. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the last big holiday of the year until we get to Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
really count Halloween unless you're a kid. I love Halloween, but it's not really an adult holiday. Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Yeah.
that's about it for me, right?
Yeah. And then we got like in October you got New York Comic Con, so that to me is a holiday altogether.
100%.
I'll
Like,
just take a couple of days.
well, you're going for it. I couldn't even imagine going for like, what do you do there for 4 days, dude? I like last year,
So
I left at one
I do a
o'clock.
little bit of everything, man. I do a little bit of everything though. So like I said, Wednesday is my day to kind of like pick up the books that I think I'm gonna try to flip. Talking about spec, right? Um, I pick up my book on Wednesdays, so I could try to flip them by Thursdays. And in the other days, I really enjoy doing the
You have
panels.
1 minute if you haven't put
I
your
have
number
a
in there yet. Sorry to cut you off. 1 minute.
Yeah,
God,
yeah. I like doing the panels. I will have some interviews lined up, so I don't even know because my guy's gonna get me the interview set up. I know last year I had an interview with Robert Kurtman. That was
that's
fun.
awesome.
Um, yeah, and we had one of the guys from Nacella, like one of the dealers from Nacella. I did an interview with him and stuff like that for Comic Crusaders. So there's press work I'll be doing. Obviously I'll be doing my own little videos here and there. I'll have conference. I did have an interview with someone from PSA, so I'm hoping they're going to be there again. Talk a little bit about the slab and
I did a bunch of stuff with dealers. I had a combo with PSA and CGC last year. I don't
yeah, same here.
I don't really want to do interviews this year, but I feel like
Hmm.
I don't did you ever think about working for another collectibles company? You ever that ever pop into your mind? That's what I think I'm kind of gearing towards here at the channel is like working for another company.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I do. It's like, I'll do
No,
some Go Collect interviews and stuff like that.
no, I'm talking about full time, like as a job.
So the answer to that question is probably not, because I don't think
Okay.
the pay is as much as what I make already. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I,
of
I
course.
think I think what they will offer me will not equate what I currently make. And I'm not saying I make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money. But what I'm saying is I'm almost certain what they will offer me will not match or be over what I make in my day-to-day job. So,
I get it.
yeah.
But
I
it's like an
wish.
add-on. It's like an add-on to what you do. So
Yeah.
Derek says interview Carbo Mike and you'll have content for like 4 years. I agree. He goes on and on
I
about
have
stuff.
a video with Carbo that I have to pull it out. And yes, you are right. I will be a Big Apple. So that's actually the last big show for me, which is not really a big show, but it's a fun show.
He's
And
definitely a character. Like he's always I'm sure like very entertaining. That's the
mhm,
one thing. But
yeah.
my thing when I interview anybody or when I talk to anybody is like, what are we going to talk about? What's the topic? So I don't know what my topic would be, Mike. Like
Yeah.
that's like could be a I don't know about that one.
Well, with Mike, you just let it go. You just let go. You know what I mean? Just let whatever happens happen, because he is such a character. He's going to give you content just because. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's the thing with Carbon. The video that I did today, I was actually one of his partners, which is Mike from Spineworks. So that's who we did the video with today. And I had a chance to work with Carbo while we were at Terrificon for a little bit, and Carbo's just like I said, he's a character, man. He is.
Yeah,
If there's someone you want to hang out with just for a day, maybe not too much, just to see him work, he has more energy than 5-year-olds.
that he does.
So
And he might be a good podcast guest, but I feel like he wouldn't be too electronically savvy. Like I
I
agree
don't
with you.
think
I
he
think
would
he'd
be
be a
a
good
good
guest.
podcast guest.
No,
Honestly, I think he would be good in doses.
well, I'd probably have to break it up, but it'd be a lot of editing involved, I assume. But like, I feel like
Yeah,
he would be if you could just get him to sit still for an hour. I feel like he could tell you a lot of stuff that
he
back
could.
in the day that happened that like give a lot
He
of
could tell
great
you stories.
stories.
He could
Yeah,
definitely tell you stories because we're talking about a guy who was doing promotions in the 80s. So he was doing he was Comic Con before there was such a thing as
yeah.
Comic Con, right? So guys like him, he was in, you had San Diego in the West Coast, but you really had Big Apple, Great Eastern Conventions. I remember that
I
was the
remember
name.
Big Apple was one of the first cons I went to when I got out of college. I
Yeah.
remember going to what it was a small show and it was at the
Penn
I
Station.
forgot. Yes, the building there. I forgot what the name of the building was, but it was.
Yeah.
I remember going up and going to the top floor. Like it
Yeah.
was a good show back then. I liked going to that. And then it kind
Those
of
were
disappeared for a while.
Yeah, so because he sold it. So the Great Eastern Conventions, which happened in Penn Pavilion, which is across the street from Madison Square Garden,
Square Garden. Yep, that was it. 100%.
you will make a line. He had everybody in that show. So like everybody we talk about, like legends, was at that show. I remember meeting Neil Gaiman there for the first time when he was writing Sandman. I met Rod Liefeld as he was doing X Force. I met Jim Lee as he was doing X Men. I met Todd McFarlane as he was doing Spider Man. All these people during that time, and Carbo was the guy that always had it because he had connections with Marvel, DC. Neil Adams was a constant that was always there. And he did it on a monthly basis. There were monthly shows, so every month you would have a show. Every month there were 1 day shows, and they were so much fun, man. I remember going to them a lot. That's how come I have so many signatures,
Yeah.
because at that time I was able to do that. I got signatures, I got sketches. I didn't pay anything for them, and it was a different time.
I got my first AF-15 at that show. First ever. I've told the story many a time. I bought it raw. And this is when
Mhm.
CGC was like early 2000s, just in its
Yeah.
infancy. And I ended up sending it up to CGC. They came back at 2.5. It was sold to me as a 3.0, but regardless, came back at 2.5. Guess how much I paid for that book? And this had to be like
What we're
early
talking about,
2000s.
2002,
Early 2000s. Early, yeah, 2002,
2003.
2003.
I want to say, and you said it's like he sold it to you as a 3.0. I want to say
It wasn't
maybe
Mike,
eight.
but someone at the show sold it to me.
Well, I'm just gonna throw out a number. I'm gonna say 800.
$4,000.
$4,000. I was trying to
Early
do the low
2000s.
ball number, man.
No, I wish I paid 800 for it, but
I
that
know,
show a
but
2.5
books were
now sells
cheap.
for like
They were cheap like that back then.
I know 2.5 now is like 20 to 22,000, which is wild.
Yeah, yeah, man, it's crazy.
So we have a question from
It's
Patel, which I have to answer because he did a lot of super chats tonight. Do you
Yeah.
feel ASM 13 is underrated for the caliber of villain Mysterio is? Yeah, but I don't think the cover does it justice. I think it's one of the weaker covers of the
Mhm,
main Spider-Man keys, right? Between 14, between
mhm,
obviously the early ones. 2 is an underrated cover. 3 is one of the best in my opinion. Doc Ock. 4 is tremendous.
mhm.
6 is good, and then you have 13 and 15. I like 15, but the
I
13
like
cover is
15.
not the greatest. Yeah, I like 15 too. The
Mhm,
13 is not that great. That's why I think it doesn't sell for as much as some of the other keys. That's just my opinion.
mhm. I think 4 is a fun cover because it has the 4 panels, which four panels, Sandman. Um, I think 8 is one that I think is a little weaker, but it has that fun Human Torch
But it's
element.
yeah, but it's not a big key.
No, it's not. It's probably one of it's even though it's a single digit, it's probably the cheapest out of all of them. Um, the Mysterio one is not bad. But then again, the one that follows it, which is 14, first Green Goblin. You know what I mean? But Mysterio is one of those characters. I think, obviously, I think he's hit his peak already because he's already came out in live action. So I still like Mysterio as a character, but he is considered one of the lesser villains out of all the villains.
But to me, I found Mysterio to be one of the more enjoyable reads from
Hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man because he was a fun character because of all the shit that he could do and all the disguise and whatever.
Hmm.
I always enjoyed reading that character as compared to some of the others. Green Goblin to me and
Yeah,
Doc Ock were the two
the two
obviously
big ones.
obvious, yeah, obvious like the ones I think that played a bigger
Hmm.
role in shaping Spider-Man early on. We're
One
old
of
as
the
hell
things I
according to Mercury.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Mysterio that I do like is that he was able to branch out of Spider-Man. Maybe not far off because he ended up being part of Daredevil series as well for a little while, so they put him in Daredevil. Um and he's able to branch out because of who he is. I would like to see something with Mysterio in a more supernatural element to it, but not too far off. Because again,
Yeah,
that's kind of like the thing with with Spider-Man villains that they're kind of grounded
yeah,
in
they're all
being
grounded. That's what makes
urban.
it. But that's what makes them great in my but just like Batman, a lot of them are grounded as well. I like that aspect of that. That's what I
Mhm,
think draws people to these characters is because they can relate to them. And I think when you have like characters like Superman or like supernatural characters, they're not
mhm.
realistic, and that's why people are not as attached to these characters as well. Um,
Yeah.
I gotta address this question. Do I think Super Bowl III was rigged for the Jets since the Packers won the first two and the league wanted the AFL to seem like a threat before the merger? Namath famously guaranteed to win cocky or fix. I just think that, and this is the thing with Jets fans, is that they believe that Joe Namath sold his soul to the devil to win that Super Bowl, and because the Jets have been terrible ever since. That's what we all think, and that he made a deal with the devil for forever or for amount of
With
time. The Jets are going to be
Mephisto?
horrible,
He
horrible,
made a
and
deal
that's
with
it.
Mephisto?
I don't think it. I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it was fixed. But here's a good one. Father son visits. What is it? What about ASM 9? Because I like the 9 cover. I've always loved the 9 cover, the dark
Mhm,
blue with
mhm.
with Electro on the
Electro.
cover. I've always loved that cover. So I think that's a great buy. It's still cheap in mid to low grade. It's still like $500 right now. So that to me is like what I'm always buying if I can get it for a deal.
Electro, I've always loved Electro's costume. And I'm always
Yeah.
sad that I never actually got to see it like come into life, like for real. Like Jamie Foxx's Electro, it just didn't do it for me in every way. But I could understand why that costume didn't work, though. But
Yeah.
I would have
It's
just
it's a
loved
hard
to
one
just
to
see. I just love to see the face of the star, the Electro star look. Uh, maybe someday. Maybe they'll pull it off. They've pulled off some crazier costumes before. So
I don't think. I mean, it's going to show a lot what we get in Brand New Day over the next Spider-Man 3 movies because I don't think they're going to rehash some of these characters again. I
no.
think you're never going to see a Doc Ock. I think you'll see a Norman Osborn, but I don't think some of these other characters they've done already you're ever going to see again. Unfortunately, live
Yeah,
action anyway.
it's a there's talks about Mr. Negative, which I could care less about Mr. Negative.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, I think there's better villains to touch than Mr. Negative. Um, I think they're running out of ideas because nobody's writing new ideas. That's part of the
Mm,
problem. Um, so the only thing what I'm worried about Brand New Day is the same thing I worried about when I read it the first time in comics. Is that I do believe Scorpion's going to be the next Venom. I see that coming. I think that's where they're going to go towards making him into Venom like they did in the comics. I hated that because to me Venom will always be Eddie Brock. Um, and you got Punisher in there, you got the Hulk in there. These are confirmed, and like if you see a lot of villains, it doesn't bother me so much. But when I see a lot of heroes in the movie, and it's like, is it going to be Spider-Man with the Hulk? Is the how much of the Punisher we're going to get into this? And you already know this is the Punisher book right now is selling like hotcakes. It just doesn't get off the list.
Nope.
Um,
30. I think it's like 27 out of 34 weeks. Insane.
yeah, man, people are going crazy. They're even buying the Tarantula one now because of it.
Yeah.
For his second appearance because they can't pick that book up, and it's just like Punisher to me, he debuted in Spider-Man, but he's his own thing now. And to put him in Spider-Man is just they're just throwing everything on the wall. I don't think these characters are going to last long in the movie. They're going to probably have short, like 10-minute scenes, and everybody's going crazy over him. What I want to know is who's the actual villain of this movie. Like
I think
that's what I want to know.
there's two possibilities in my mind, and the first one is Norman Osborn, but I don't know
Hmm.
if they're really gonna go back to that route. The other one I think is Kingpin. Like D'Onofrio said, like, "Oh, Kingpin can't appear in a movie with that because he's owned by Sony." I just have a feeling it's gonna be the Kingpin pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's just my opinion. There's rumors already that, like, they've seen a rhino head on the set. So,
Hmm.
I think there's a lot more things that we don't know about this film. At the end of the day, I think it's gonna be the Kingpin pulling the strings because that just seems like
Because,
between with Daredevil, Born Again, and, like, all the stuff that was
hmm
going on there, it makes sense for him to be like the one
hmm
behind the scenes, and eventually we're gonna get that big Spider-Man thing. But I will say this, I don't think it's gonna be Scorpion as Venom. I do think eventually we're gonna get an Eddie Brock Venom. I don't think they're that stupid. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Scorpion, I think, is gonna be
Eh,
like a minor villain in the film, but I think
they
it's gonna be
gave us
controlled by.
they gave us Scott Lang Ant-Man.
But that's different, a little bit different. Venom is too polarizing of a figure. He's not fucking Ant-Man. Like people
Yeah.
want the real Venom. Like they're not gonna do. I just can't. If
Hmm.
they do that, they're so dumb. It's not even funny. That's
I
just the way I look at
I'm I'm willing I'm willing to put $1 that
it.
that's what
Only
you're gonna
one.
do. $1. I'll
I
put
don't know
one
who.
dollar down.
That's why I think it's either gonna be Kingpin or Norman Osborn as the
I
one
could
pulling the
see.
strings because they're keeping it a
I think it'll
secret.
be Norman. I think it'll be Norman because I think Kingpin is doing his own thing with Daredevil because Daredevil season 2 is coming back and that's they're going to be busy with that. Um, so and they're like you said, they are keeping very hush hush on who's the actual villain. Um, I'm curious. I want to see what Mister Negative is going to look like.
I don't know. I
That's
don't know
my
if it's
shit.
him. They said it's not. He's not going to be in it. So like, there's speculation that it was him, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to
Well,
be him or if it's not going to be him.
they are saying it's the gang because they're showing the symbols of the gang.
I
So
know. But then that's one of the scoopers came out and said he's not in the movie. So it's like a big mystery. It's all I don't know if it's all BS or whatnot. I have no idea. But Run
yeah.
Me Through says most overrated DC and Marvel heroes and villains. Pick one from each. I gotta go. Spider-Man and Venom from Marvel and Batman Joker from DC. I think they're overrated. Doesn't mean I don't like them. I don't
Wow.
you can't say
I wouldn't
Batman and
call them.
Joker.
I wouldn't
And
call neither
Spider-Man,
one of them
me
overrated,
neither,
man.
man. No way.
I
I
wouldn't call
agree.
them overrated because they're just that iconic. I think overrated is not the word. They just reached that plateau. Batman and Joker are like the perfect opposites, right?
Correct.
Um, overrated. Man, that's putting me in the spot. I never think about these things. Who's an overrated character? I don't know.
It's hard, but like from
Yeah.
honestly, I'm probably gonna get screamed at for this one, but overrated on the DC side, I would say half the fucking characters they have are overrated, in my opinion.
They're all Silver Age characters.
Outside of like outside of Batman and Superman,
Yeah.
outside of and Wonder Woman, I'll put that as well.
Hmm.
I Aquaman's overrated. No,
Not a big Flash fan. I love the Flash.
I wouldn't put Flash as overrated. He's not overrated, but I think
No, I
Aquaman's a
wouldn't put
little
it.
overrated. I think
Yeah,
Hawkman's a little overrated. As far as
Hawkman's just
Marvel,
a brute, man. That's what Hawkman is. He's a brute.
before before Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man was overrated, no question.
Hmm.
Villain, I couldn't tell you though. Villain on the Marvel side, that's a tough
Marvel,
one.
I think, always had good villains.
They do.
They have good villains. Now, there is one villain that I never understood. Is that's Graviton, and he's like an Avengers villain, but he's not that
I
important.
don't even
Yeah,
know who that
exactly.
is, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That's me stretching it. Uh, wow, that is a hard
So
one. It's
it's very hard. CGC considers 135 his second appearance. For a while, everybody was saying that's the second appearance, and
mhm,
that's a great cover by Ramita. But he's in
yeah,
like a full panel in like that Tarantula book. So I
yeah.
don't know. But obviously, people say it's his third now. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Tarantula's overrated. He just kicks
100%.
you.
I agree.
He just
I
kicks
agree.
you. There you go. Tarantula. There you go.
I
Tarantula.
agree with that one. He's terrible.
He just kicks you. That's all he does. He just kicks you. It's to the point that the Spectacular Spider-Man #1 and the one we just talked about, the ASM book, he's literally in the exact same pose with a yellow background. You think it's the same comic book
Also,
because
Jay says Scorpion and Hobgoblin. I actually love both of those characters in the comics, so I wouldn't
Hobgoblin's
say that.
good, man. I
But
love Hobgoblin.
so do I. So here's a great one. I agree with Cross Bronx on this one. Harley Quinn is 100% overrated. 100%.
Are we talking about Harley Quinn the villain, or are we talking about just Harley Quinn?
In general, I agree in general.
I think she has evolved into something that commercial wise they love.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's just that DC, one thing DC lacks is strong female heroes. They got some good ones.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, there you go. Wonder Woman.
I don't even know how many people read that shit though. That's the thing now.
Yeah, well, Wonder Woman is really good. The Tom King run has been really good. Hearing a lot of good things about the Tom King run. So Wonder Woman, what Black Canary? There you go. Green Arrow. Green Arrow's overrated.
I agree with that one as well.
Yeah,
100%.
all
All right,
him and Speedy.
so while I got everyone here still, we're gonna end this shortly. But the giveaway, okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
show you guys the number because I do. One person put this number in the chat, but Derek was right. And it's not my favorite because Mark Sanchez is my favorite player, but because I picked number 6 as the giveaway number, and that was by Jay, I believe. I'm gonna go back up and scroll, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Jay was the only person who put number 6. So Jay Bjorkland, do me a favor. You're the winner of the giveaway. All you got to do is email me. My email is in the description of every video, or I can tell you right here. It's the mighty RPH at
Mhm.
yahoo.com. Just email me and say, hey, I'm Jay. I won the giveaway. Send me your address and I will mail you your giveaway winnings. So congratulations, Jay.
Mhm. There you go. Yep, Derek, you got it. Harley has been connected to the normies.
Just like Deadpool, regardless of how bad their comics are, they're in pop culture now and their books would be valuable. There's
Well,
not even
Deadpool,
that many.
I think Deadpool's more about Ryan Reynolds than Deadpool.
So no, before Ryan Reynolds took on the role, I enjoyed the original run of Deadpool.
Hmm.
I thought it
Oh,
was
I do
great.
too. I'm not saying no to that, but I'm just saying I think Ryan Reynolds took him to the next level.
100%. I agree with you. It brought a character to life that I don't think anybody would have ever imagined coming to screen. And the first time you
Mhm.
saw it, it was so different that it was like, oh wow, I got to go back and read some of this stuff. If you didn't
Yeah.
read it at all.
Hmm. Look at that. Give me your top 3 Image Boys ranks. McFarlane, Lee, Silvestri. I actually will put Lee in front of McFarlane.
So I'm gonna get probably crucified for this, but I love Eric Larson. I've always loved his
I love
Spider-Man
Eric
after
Larson as
McFarlane.
well.
So
So I
he was one of my faves.
So if I have to put the list, I think the 3 that he has are on point, but not in that order. I put Lee, Silvestri, McFarlane. When I look at McFarlane's artwork today, I see that there's work that needs to be done. When I see Lee's, his stuff has always been solid to me. Everything I've seen of Jim Lee has been solid. When I see Silvestri, I see a guy that kept under the radar, and then when he had time to shine, he shined like hell. Um, so and McFarlane was just it was bombastic. It was in your face, and I think that's what made McFarlane what he was. Is that there was something about his energy that came out of the page that no one else was able to do, or to do at
I
that
think he
time,
was the I
including
think he
Lee.
was the first to do it. He first to kind of go outside the box, and that's what made him so great. And people gravitated toward that. And then some of these other guys kind of followed suit after that. Jim Lee's art was always great, but to
Yeah,
me, like I've always seen Jim Lee, like where I grew up with Jim Lee as an X-Men guy. And then I was pretty
yeah.
much not reading many comics by the time he went over to DC and doing Batman. I still love his Batman. To
Mhm,
me, I think he's probably third on my Batman list, though.
mhm, yeah. So that's how I look at it. And I think McFarlane again, like I said, is I think he nothing not taking away his art style. I think it's amazing, but it was more energy than actually his anatomy was bad. And he'll be the first to tell you that his anatomy is not good. Um where these other two guys, they got their anatomy down packed, man. and it just
I
looks nice
think
and sharp and
anybody would
clean.
probably have McFarlane and Lee in their top 2. Like, that just I feel like they have to be
Yeah,
in there, and then, whether you're a
from the image
yeah,
guys.
whether it's Silvestri, whether it's Liefeld, whether it's for me, it's Eric Larson because I just love reading his Spider-Man run, and the art I thought was so
E-
similar to McFarlane.
Even
Yeah,
Potasio, man, Potasio is a great
yeah. I mean,
artist.
you can't go wrong anyway,
Awesome
but,
art.
like, I just feel like McFarlane and Lee are, like, the 2 top dogs that came out of that group.
Hmm. And you got to give some love to Liefeld. You give him a little bit of love. Don't hate on him
Yeah.
entirely. I think he took advantage of an opportunity, and he was young. He was brash. He was the rookie of the bunch, and he never really had a chance to really grow. So he kind of just stood in his lane, and he took advantage of that lane. And more power to him
I
for doing
wish
that.
Eric Larson did more things. Like, he's been on Savage Dragon forever, and that's all really he's done outside of a couple things here and there, but, like, I really wish he had done other things because he was one of my favorite artists growing up that doesn't get a lot of credit that he should because after McFarlane left, Spider-Man, he took over amazing, and it was just like it didn't stop. That
Hmm.
run was so good. And then it eventually went over to, Bagley,
Bagley.
and it was like I a lot of people love Mark Bagley. I am not a huge fan of his artwork. At least back then, he seems to have updated his artwork now. More the modern stuff that he does is a lot better in my opinion, but his early
Hmm.
stuff on Spider-Man just wasn't for me.
I like his Spider-Man. I don't like the way he draws people.
Uh,
I don't like it. I don't like the way he draws faces. But he's
yeah.
consistent. You got to give him
Well, so is
that.
Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby has the
You know?
same face on everybody.
Yeah. There's consistency there, so you got to give him love for that. Where he could, at that books, and he was doing 2 books.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I agree with
so
that.
give him love. And I agree with you with Larson. I think Larson's been so tied to Savage Dragon that and he that's his pet project. He still does Savage
Yep.
Dragon to this day. He still does it. He is doing some stuff for Marvel. I know he's doing some stuff with Marvel really soon. So that's that. Yeah. Um, no, I don't think McFarlane would have stayed on Spidey. I think McFarlane was always bound for something else.
Dude, from where he went from Marvel to Image to starting his own with the everybody forgets like the toy line early was like such a big deal for him. The sports
Hmm.
McFarlane sports line, I forgot what it was called, but like those were
Yeah.
like instant hits. And then of course he expanded into other toy lines. He was just an instant success and whatever he touched, whatever he did went to fucking gold.
Hmm.
Um, in the
All the
beginning and then
Yeah, it was all a stopping ground. That's all it
yeah.
was. It was all a stopping ground. I think McFarlane would eventually end his run in Spidey. If he didn't do Image, he would have eventually end his run on Spidey and moved on to something else. He probably would have done some DC work, I'm sure. Um, but he's the type of guy that he can't stay still in one lane. He has to constantly move.
That's what you
So,
want. Well, the best creators are the people that we talked about this on YouTube before. The people who are willing to go outside the box and try new things and kind of do things for themselves. Like the greatest people, like I always compare
mhm,
this, like Steve Jobs, who just kind
yeah,
of always wanted to be in control of everything. And that's exactly how Todd McFarlane is as well. Like those are the people who kind of revolutionize
yeah,
everything. And I don't mean to sound like ridiculous when I say this. That is my personality whatsoever. Like
yeah,
I am a person who is just like, if I'm not getting better at what I'm doing, or if I'm not changing things for the better, then I'm just like wasting my time.
yeah. I think with McFarlane, he is one of those guys. Spawn was gonna happen somewhere.
Yeah,
It wasn't going to happen in Marvel and DC unless they would have given creator rights. But
I agree.
he had Spawn since he was a baby.
Here's a question for you. Where does Kirkman rank?
Kurtman ranks as one of the best modern writers today
I agree with
because
that.
I don't think there is Hickman probably is the other one. Jonathan Hickman. Those two are the best modern day writers today. Kurtman's still writing. He's doing Void Rivals now. He will be doing he just did a new book with David Finch, Skin Breakers. I haven't read it, but I heard good things about it. And he's gonna be doing Transformers now. He's gonna write Transformers. Kurtman is another one of those guys, similar to McFarlane. He couldn't stay still. He had to do something. He conned Image into doing Walking Dead. That story it's an awesome story. Um, he conned them into doing Walking Dead, and then He told them that it was supposed to be an alien invasion, and it turned out it was never was. It was just a way to get him to do the book. And Invincible, he managed to do Invincible before that, and he just there's many things that he's written that I can't say are bad, you
Yeah.
know? And Hickman's another one of those guys. Hickman's one of those guys that I think he could be bigger if he was more if he more stood in the project. Like he usually starts a project, but he never really ends a project.
I feel
So I
like
want to
that's
say,
everybody. I feel like that's everybody now, though, that they just go from like they do a little bit and then they come off it.
yeah, but I think in his case, there's something happens in the background that doesn't go his way, and he kind of just leaves the project that he works on. And like he started the new X-Men, the Krakoa era, which was very controversial, but it got people talking about X-Men, which they didn't talk about in years. And there was something there, and it just kind of like fell off because he kind of just said, "I'm out." And I,
Yeah.
I heard there was stuff behind the scenes that happened with that one. So those are the two guys. I think Kurtman's amazing. He's a great writer. I think Hickman's a great writer. I think Rick Remender's a great writer as well. The solid writers that are out there today. I just think that no one wants to write for the big two as much as they used to, because the big two wants to control everything in ways that they didn't want to control then. They're more controlling now than they ever been beforehand. Oh, Jeff
Yeah.
Johns is another one. hmm Yeah, I like Jeff Johns' Flash work though, when he did on Flash, but his Lantern stuff is good too.
I don't know about you, man, but I'm exhausted, so I think I'm gonna
I'm
call it
done
a night.
too, man. I gotta go to bed. I gotta wake up in the morning, man. I gotta get a nice
Enjoy the
spot.
bar. Enjoy the barbecue tomorrow. And everyone out there who joined us for
Yeah,
2 hours and 45 minutes. Listen, I really apologize for the restream nonsense that went on, but thank you so much for joining us tonight for the past 2 hours and 45 minutes. Really appreciate it. And remember, check out the content for both of our channels, Izzyverse NYC, Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and make sure you're voting for one of us for the CBCS award for best speculation content. So
yeah.